spiked out. I could trip a referee. Tell by my attitude that I most definitely from.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to another This Week in Startups. It is episode number 59. Slowly crawling our way to 100.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. And I think I'm in the lead. Is This Week in Startups the most number of episodes, or is Kevin Pollak's?
This Week in Startups longer than Kevin Pollak's. I believe we're 4 episodes ahead of him. It depends on if you count This Week in YouTube.
Oh, right. Yeah, This Week in YouTube's 100.
We're at 106 as of today.
Predates the network, but that's true. Then again, Kevin Pollak show might. Yeah. But Kevin Pollak counts his shows. If he has 2 guests, that's 2 shows.
Yes.
So he cheats.
You're in the lead.
I don't think I am, actually. And in terms of viewership now on the thisweekin.com network?
Number 1, This Week in iPad still.
Huge.
Huge. 150,000 plus downloads per episode on iTunes.
And then I guess I'm in second with This Week in Startups?
You're in second. You and Kevin are neck and neck. I mean, it literally goes back and forth week to week.
I'm going to bring more. I'm going to bring more to the show and try to get my viewership up.
You're going to have to up your game, though, because he's getting crazy celebrity guests.
Craig Ferguson last week.
Craig Ferguson last week. Paul Rudd this week. And I'm not at liberty to say some of the other names I've heard him throw around because they're not locked in, but wow.
Yeah. It's
huge.
I think it's getting pretty established. Okay, so couple of notes, show notes. We are going to have another global This Week in Startups meetup on
July 20th.
July 20th, which is a Tuesday.
It is a Tuesday morning. It's going to be 11 a.m. on the West Coast.
11 a.m. on the West Coast, which means in New York it will be
2 p.m.
Which means in Europe it will largely be
between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m.
6 p.m. 2 plus 6 is 8 p.m. I guess it's 6 hours ahead of New York. I think.
Yes. Well, I think it's 8. Isn't it 8 hours ahead?
I think 6 or 7.
6,
so anyway,
7, yeah,
it's going to be about 8 o'clock. The reason we're doing this, of course, is so that we can get the Europeans involved.
Western Europe.
Western Europe.
Last time we did it, really wanted to be involved,
but
it
couldn't be.
Was not a great time for them.
This is part of our austerity program. You get to watch the program. So if you want to be part of that, you just go to meetup.com/startups. And we need people in each country to find a location, to get an internet connection, and then you're going to let people pitch for, I don't know, a minute to 3 minutes each. You get a sign-up sheet, like just put a piece of paper there, say everybody signed up who wants to pitch. They pitch, whoever gets the most applause or votes or however you want to do it, gets to pitch to the show and the global audience.
Right.
So last time we had about 10 cities call in. We had about 9 companies pitch.
Yeah.
The best one, we sent an iPad to that.
We sent it to Columbus, Ohio, which had the biggest gathering. We like their startup companies the most. So that's going to be given away to one of the people.
Roughly a month away. We need leadership. And if you want to be involved in that, lon@thisweekend.com.
Yeah, let me know. I can send you all the instructions. And I should say a lot of the major European cities do already they're already getting organized. So London's organized. Paris is getting organized, I believe. Amsterdam is already getting set up. So if you're in some of these cities, you already have an actual meetup.
I'm looking right now, and I do see 249 meetups on the calendar, and that's ridiculous. And I see Santa Monica already has 21 people.
They're going to be here. We're going to host it again.
We're going to host a brunch here.
We're going to have a brunch. I've got food planned. It's
good, better food this time.
Jen, our chef at Mahalo, is making a lovely brunch.
Serious brunch. I would like the chocolate croissant. The almond and chocolate croissants from...
Ben Quotidien?
No, there's another place, Armandine, which is over on Wilshire, which I'll get you the address of, which has
the
really
info.
good pain au chocolat, which is really what breakfast is about. I see Manchester, I see Amsterdam, I see Rotterdam.
Yes.
I see
Rotterdam, that was
Dixmude, Belgium, Brussels, Belgium, Genk, Belgium. 3 different people from Belgium.
Belgians.
The Belgians are coming out strong. Roma, Geneva, Bulgaria, Turkey.
Yeah.
Mumbai, Bangalore. I don't know what time it's going to be in Mumbai, but
it's going to be late there.
Yeah. So that'll be a late night thing. Who knows?
Late night.
Okay, so everybody try to make it to the global meetup. That's a place where you can find a job, you can find investment, etc. And is there any other housekeeping I need to know? Is there new shows on the network that I should?
There are. I have it actually in your conclusion in your notes. I want to let everybody know about the new Sunday night lineup, which is continuing this Sunday. It's we're going to have Kevin Pollak's chat show. He's got Paul Rudd this week.
Very nice. That's at 3 p.m. Pacific.
That's at 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay. Then Paul Rudd, big deal.
Big deal. I mean, I Love You Man. He's in Dinner for Schmucks with Steve Carell. It's coming out.
Funny.
It looks funny. Yeah, tons of role models, tons of great movies. Paul Rudd. He's great. And then after that, we've got This Week in Comedy starting at 6 p.m. Jonathan Katz from Dr. Katz, the guest this week.
And that's the third episode of This Week in Comedy.
It's going to be the third episode.
That was great last week. That's at 5.
That is at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
6 p.m. Pacific time. We're working on getting the shows closer together.
Closer together, yeah.
And then after that...
So take a little dinner break.
Little dinner break in between Pollock show, and we have the live feed going, so you can watch us get the shows ready and change between them. And then that goes from 6 to 7:30, and then at 8 p.m. This Week in Movies.
Okay, so 6 to 7:30. You should start This Week in Movies at 7:35.
Every week we're working on tightening it up. It's basically I've compared
watched This Week in Comedy and This Week in Movies last week, and it was too long in between. I sort of got distracted, and then I missed a little bit of the beginning. I just want a little tighter.
Yeah,
I'll watch straight through.
It's a comment we've heard. I'll tell you what I compared it to with the team. It's basically Apollo 13, if you remember that scene where we can get you here, and we need to get you to Earth, and then they just dump. Here's what we've got, and they inch a little bit closer and a little bit closer. Right. That's what we're facing. We got a lot of housekeeping stuff between shows. Every week it gets a little tighter.
Okay. I like it.
It'll get there.
This week, we're going to go through a bunch of great Ask Jason calls and a Shark Tank. Who knows? I may wind up investing in this one as well.
You never know.
Just got back from Open Angel Forum in San Francisco. It went really well. Some great companies.
Tyler is still there.
Tyler is still there. Tyler will not be giving insights on this program. Thank you to Ustream for sponsoring us and helping us stream the show. And also thanks to DNA Mail. Wow, DNA Mail. Everybody loves DNA Mail. They've been sponsoring the show since the beginning. And they're a complete hosted exchange solution. Get your SharePoint and CRM, $2.95 a month, unlimited mail, personal mail. Easy FTP importing of your mailboxes, easy to use upload interface. Start saving money by switching to DNA Mail. Don't F with your own servers when you're doing this stuff. And they'll also do the Google Mail if you're into that. 100% US-based customer support. You're not going to be talking to a guy from Mumbai if you're from the United States. Just like I think the guys from Mumbai are not calling up guys in the United States. It's not I'm not a xenophobe, but I am an American. I love America, and I'd like to talk to an American when I have a tech support problem.
Yeah. They're local. They're going to be able to help you out.
A little bit more. They know the cultural stuff. They have a little bit of jokes when you're talking to tech support. Okay, let's take our first caller. It's Kevin. Kevin is calling in on Skype, and I see an image of a person.
He does not have. Kevin doesn't have a webcam set up, so it's audio only.
But I do see a picture of Kevin.
That is Kevin.
Wow, that is disturbing. It's just like he holds himself so still during the call.
Yes.
Kevin, you have a question for us.
I do have a question, and thank you for having me on.
Of course. Long-time viewer or new to the show?
No, sort of new, but definitely checking out all the shows now. So I like them all. Hopefully this is a correct forum to ask this question. It's not exactly concerning the startup because my business has been around for 15 years.
Okay.
But I think you'd have some great insights. So I, as I said, have been around for about 15 years doing design work. And my business has been growing quite a bit, especially in the last 3 or 4 years. I'm sort of at a point now where I need to think about bringing somebody in at a higher level, sort of a higher level executive position. And there's a few people that are interested, and I'm exploring compensation packages for those people.
Yeah.
They may be employees. They may not be employees. They may just work on particular projects. They may simply be trolling their Rolodex to bring in new clients.
Got it.
And so this all presents not a challenge, but something that I need to work out in defining compensation that they're happy with, that I'm happy with, and that continues to incentivize them over time.
Right. Okay. So we get this question a lot in various different forms and in different phases of a startup. So what you have to realize is that compensation is a very fluid thing, and is largely based upon what the person wants to do and their life situation, as well as their market opportunity. So you have many variables when it comes to compensation. First, where is the person at in life? Are they independently wealthy? Have they had a huge success and now they just want to do something interesting? Are they stuck? Do they have bills to pay? Are they behind? Are they going through a divorce? And all these other situations that can happen in somebody's life. They have kids in school. And what I like to do before I start making offers and before I start defining in my head what the package is, I like to meet with 5 or 6 people who I think could do the job and ask them, what is your salary expectation? What would make you focus on this job and not be looking out the door at other opportunities? Because while I can't pay you an infinite amount, this is not a huge, this is not Google where we're going to pay people an absurd amount just to keep them from working at Microsoft or vice versa. I want you to be happy, secure, and not looking at your rent every month or some declining savings you have. So you have to really get inside the heads of the people who you want to hire. Now, some people may be sophisticated and say, well, what do you want to pay? And you say, as the owner of the business, you can say, well, it really depends on a person's experience. And now you get back into the back and forth that can occur where some people don't like to negotiate against themselves, and certainly a business owner doesn't want to just throw a number out there. As the business owner, you have the leverage. Therefore, you win this debate typically. If somebody is so, adamant about not telling you what they need, then you're probably not going to be able to work with them because they're just too hardcore. And they're mercenary. It's essentially a tell if somebody will not tell you what they need to make. In fact, when I interview somebody and they don't tell me what they made at their last job, I consider that a tell. And some people will say, like, well, I don't want to I've had people tell me in an interview, like younger people who are inexperienced, I don't want to tell you how much I made because I, think that'll color how you look at me and you won't give me the other offer. And then I'm just like, well, this is not a person I want to work with because they're not just being honest. You want somebody who's honest. And so... Yeah,
and the people that I have talked to so far have told me what they're making either at their current positions or at their recent positions.
Right.
But that it's a little different because they're coming from full-time situations where I don't think I need somebody full-time. I need somebody with executive experience that can work here and there as needed, or maybe a few months and then take time off. I implement their ideas and then come back and do some more consulting.
So maybe you're looking at a consultant, and that's going to be totally different. The motivators and drivers of a consultant are going to be different, and you're going to have narrowed down your pool of potential people probably significantly, because the best players are probably going to work on a full-time project, and they're going to want to do it in order to get some big goal in terms of equity. So I think that while you might only think you need somebody part-time, the fact is you may have just gotten rid of all your great candidates by only allowing people who are going to do it part-time. So I would just consider it a full-time gig and come up with a package that I usually come up with 2 packages I'll offer somebody because I also want to know what I'm dealing with. I actually did it today. And I offered somebody a package that, let's just say, was X in terms of salary. I offered them X in terms of salary, then a bonus which was 25% of X. Or actually, it was 1/3 of X. Then I offered them 10% or so equity in this new project. Then I offered them X plus 1/3 salary. So basically the bonus and the salary together, but 7% equity and no bonus. So basically it's almost the same comp if you hit the bonus, but 50% more on the equity. They took the latter deal. They took the B deal for the secure cash. Well, this happens to be somebody who is later on in life and coming out of a life situation and is stuck. So this is sort of like poker. When you're behind at the poker table and you're stuck 20 G's or 30 G's, not that I know what this is like to be stuck 130 G's on a television program in front of the world on national television, but when you're stuck 130 G's, you're going to play slightly differently because you're trying to get back.
Yeah. Then
if you are up 130 G's, you might want to just sit on it and let the game end. And this is true in tournament poker especially.
Okay.
So you just need to know where that person's coming from.
Go ahead.
You need to know where the person's coming from, and then you can make them an offer that is less than the compensation they might get at the big company, let's say, assuming you're the smaller company, but that has more upside in equity. And you really want equity. That's what you want to have people motivated by equity. If somebody's not motivated by equity, I'd be very careful about having them involved because that means you might have somebody who's in a little bit of a mercenary situation, and that means when the next person comes along and says, hey, I'll give you X plus 20%, then you're going to lose them. And so you may never really have them because they don't value equity. But you don't want to overthink that either because there may be a mitigating circumstance. There may be a divorce. There may be bills. And they may need to just clean some stuff up. So that's where you have to talk to somebody like a human being, look them in the eye and say, listen, Lon, your car's got a headlamp falling out of the front of it.
I actually removed it now, so it's just gone.
You are a professional executive. You need to be paid a certain salary, and you need to drive a new car because you need to represent the network well. And then Lon will say, yes, you're right. And I will buy a new car on Monday.
It's happening.
It's happening. Finally, Lon gets a new car. I'm just worried about him. So anyway, does that help a little bit?
Yeah, that helps a lot. I think the difference between your A and B package you just referenced and how the salary affects the percentage of equity is really interesting to me, and that's what I'm trying to get a grasp on as well.
Yeah, so what you do with
when you're talking about equity, what are the percentages? What are there norms? Are there industry standards, that sort of thing?
There are, and it depends on the person. So let's say you were going to bring a CEO into a company that was a very small startup company that had an angel round. They might expect 10%. They might expect 20% of equity. Now, if you bring them into a company with a couple $1 million and has some $1 million in reference, they might expect 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 2 to 5% as a CEO. You bring somebody in as your director of sales or your CTO, day one, they might get 1 to 3% day one if they're the founding CTO or founding director of sales. You bring that person in 3 years into the business when there's less risk and there's a couple $1 million in venture capital and/or revenue, they might just get a point. So generally what happens is as time goes on and the risk goes down, so does the amount on a percentage basis of compensation. You're taking less risk to come into this business. The business is bigger, therefore you get a smaller percentage.
Okay, those percentages help a lot. Yeah. And that's been a little elusive for me at this point as I'm trying to research this, is having some baseline for what these percentages typically are.
Yeah, and then as a business owner, one of the things you can take solace in, that I take solace in, is when you give an option grant, you have the ability, if you feel the person is not worth it, to, at any time, fire them. It's an at-will situation. If they don't make it to year one, they vest 0 of their shares. So, for example, Lon is now in charge of the creative director of thisweekend.com. He has a nice stock option package as a founding member of the team. But he has to make it to year one to vest that first 25%. He is on his toes for the first 12 months. He cannot screw up. And if Mark, Jeffrey, or I look at him and say, God, he's screwing up, he's out. Month 11, he's out. He gets ungats. Nothing. 0. Zilch. Big donut. And then he invests monthly after that. So, or quarterly, whatever it is. Monthly or quarterly is typically standard. So as the business owner, you are protected if you have a 4-year vesting schedule. So then don't sweat it. Maybe if you gave the person 25% too much stock, don't worry about it, because you can always say, you get a year into it, and you say, you know what, you're really not worth this amount. You're not doing the job. I need you to step it up, hit these milestones, and then you're worth the X percentage I've given you. If you cannot hit these milestones, you're not going to be here, and you're not going to vest that other 75%. And so you are ultimately protected with the 4-year vest. And what happens is I find a lot of young entrepreneurs, they get a little too concerned about this. Most people don't make it to their 4-year vest. That's just the nature of the beast right now. Most people don't stay 4 years at a startup company. They stay 2, 3, maybe 4. So when you give out a bunch of options, you have a 15% of your company or 10% of your company is an option pool, and you give it out. Let's say you've given it out at the start. It doesn't normally happen that way, and it shouldn't. But let's say you gave out 10%, 10 points out of the 15 at the day one of your startup because you had founders coming in. You would assume that only 6 or 7% of that's going to get actually fully vested, because some percentage of people are going to move on or get hit by buses or whatever it is. And if you are the majority shareholder and other people are getting rich, you're going to get dragged along with that in a bigger way. So at Mahalo, I'm the largest shareholder. Other people might own 10% or 20% of the shares I own. Some people, like a venture capital firm, might own almost the same, or 70%. We're aligned. That's why this whole idea of like, oh my God, this company was forced to sell. There's a lot of talk about Tony Hsieh being forced to sell by Sequoia. Please, God, let me be forced to sell Mahalo and make $500 million. I'll be closer to buying the Knicks. So when you have equity alignment, and that's what you're really going for, is equity alignment, it becomes magical, because then the discussion of compensation just goes away. And that's what you want. Lon and Mark Jeffrey, they're not thinking about compensation at this weekend. They're thinking about, how do I get more shows on the air, et cetera. That's what I want them thinking about. I want them thinking about executing, revenue, shows, quality, scale. Same thing at Mahalo. So once you make that deal, be generous with the equity, do as good as you can on the cash, but don't go crazy on cash, because you don't want mercenaries. Those people are toxic, and they can create a mercenary environment in your company. You always want to be 20% below on a cash compensation basis the big boys on the block, like the Googles or the Yahoos. If you're 20% or 30% below them, great, because there's no opportunity for people to get the big upside there. So people give up 20%, they can still live, it doesn't make a difference. They're driving a Audi instead of a Beamer, or a Beamer instead of a Benz, it doesn't matter, it's got 4 wheels. This is why I always tell people with their career, max cash means nothing. Max knowledge, max experience, max networking, max success, that's what matters. you want to maximize as the individual. We go to the individual on the other side of this. They want to maximize their fun, their enjoyment, their learning, and their bragging rights. That's what people are motivated by. They want to be able to say, I was part of the team that kicked ass, that created Mahalo and made a top 25 site. Right now it's a top 200 site, so they're pretty psyched, but they still have that motivation to get to top 25. Mark, Jeffrey, Lon, the rest of the team here at This Weekend, they want to show that they can build 25 shows that have incredible quality, and there's 1 million downloads a week. If 1 million people download these shows of this network, Lon, how do you feel about yourself?
Oh, amazing. I mean, to grow to that size and be one of the top players in the video
from nothing
market, starting from
so
nothing.
That's what motivates people. When people get all caught up in this comp thing, it's sort of like people getting caught up in, if they're watching a movie, they're getting caught up in like, I don't know, somebody's dress in the movie or this or the set. You have to be, the story is the big picture. Let's get to the story and the characters and the performance. Like, let's get to the big higher order bit. The bigger higher order bit is you need this person to be motivated to do something that they can tell other people at a cocktail party or when they go to their college reunion that makes other people really jealous. That's my motivation. I want people who love their job so much and love their accomplishments so much that when they go to their college reunion, they are the most proud person there. And when they go to Thanksgiving and they talk to their mom is super proud of them. Lon's mom loves me.
She does.
Loves me. If I can get Lon's mom to love me, then Lon's not going anywhere. Lon's not going to disappoint his mom. It's true, though, right?
No, she's a big fan, definitely. No, and I think what you're saying is really true. There's a pride element that is really significant when you go to the industry meetups or you go to those kinds of tweet ups or whatever, and you get to say I'm part of this brand that everybody knows and loves. Yeah. That has real value beyond what you're making, and nobody everybody's salaries are comparable, whatever. Some people making a few more.
There's like a comp line for people like here. And if they get above it, or they're slightly below it, or whatever, they're just happy. If they go too far below it, they're too concerned about meeting their bills. They're going to be distracted. If they're too high above it, maybe they get a little distracted because they're just too involved in spending money or something like that. But generally, you can't make too much money. I find I'm a little biased in this, but I think you can't make too much money if you're a focused person. The guiding principle of pride and excitement. That's what drives people. So just try to work on that more than anything. What can you tell this person you want to bring in that'll make them be so proud to tell their kids, to tell their peers, to tell their parents, to tell the people at the club, the golf club, or wherever club they hang out in, that they're doing really exciting stuff. Mm-hmm. Compensation works itself out.
Yeah. That really is psychological.
Yeah, no, this is all great information. I think there's well, if I have time, and I don't know if I do, there's one related question. I'd love to get your input on.
I'll allow it.
Okay, sounds great. I'm in a service business, and to date, we've never done marketing. It's all been word of mouth, and we have a lot of work. But there's a few people who have some contacts I don't have that are friends of mine that I've worked with at various times over the years. What is the typical percentage or commission if somebody were to be interested in providing leads to me, and leads that turn into actual clients over the long term?
Okay. Again, people will be much more motivated to refer people to your business because you're going to do a good job and they're going to make it's going to make them look smart than any amount of compensation you're going to give them. So the best price you can pay is that they have their friend or client come back to them and say, you know what, thank you for referring us to Kevin. Kevin's brilliant. He did a great job. So when people refer somebody to you, you need to crush it for them and over-service the client. That is the primary payment.
Okay,
over-service the client.
And most of these people a lot of these people are actually, at various times, have been a client.
Right. So then, the way I like to do it is I like to do something that's experiential. Experiences count more than money. So I can tell you that Lon and I have gone and had great dinners sometimes at different places. You probably could name them. We've gone and seen some funny movies together in epic situations. Tyler and I have eaten all over the globe together when we travel. We've gone to Lakers games and sat in ridiculous seats. Focus on an experience with that person that will bond you closer together, and that will be more so if this was a $50,000 design job they gave you, or $25,000 one, and you were going to give them 10%, it's $2,500. Screw it. Take them out for an incredible meal, and go see a play with their spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend afterwards, and buy the best freaking seats in the house for $1,000 each. Now you've spent $3,000 instead of $5,000, but you gave them an experience that they're like, oh my God, this is incredible. Experiences win in life in general. The people who have the best experiences and the most fun in life, this is a philosophy of life that I'm talking about. They're the people who are happiest. If you look at any of the happiness research, the people with the most experiences that are memorable, that they can look back on in their lives with joy and fun, all the good times, that's the people who are going to bond with you and send you more business. That's what I would do. And I would look back and say, where did I get these last 5 clients? And I would go take that person out to dinner somewhere epic. And you just call them up and say, hey, you know what? There's this incredible new restaurant coming out. My wife and I wanted to go. We need somebody to come with us. You got to come. It looks incredible. And we're going to get the omakase. And blow it out. Spend some money. Blow it out. Live a little bit. That's my philosophy. All right. Good questions. Kevin, good luck with it. And keep crushing it. Next call.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks, Kevin.
I think we helped him. That was only a 25-minute call. We have 4 more calls to go. This will be a 3-hour show.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get caught up in it a little bit.
Yeah. And Kevin actually helped us out. He was very last minute because we had some cancellations this week. And
yeah, a little bit crazy on the old scheduling.
Yeah.
But I love the Q&A show. And just so people know, we split the show up, interview on Tuesday, Q&A and interview and Shark Tank and news on Friday.
Right.
We're still planning on having an interview on Friday. What we're doing is we're doubling down on the show, having 2 guests per week. So lest you think that the show would not normally have a guest.
Yes, right. We should, because people were contacting me like, why no more, regular Friday shows? And we're still doing the Friday show
with a guest.
Yeah.
The thing people were thinking about was they missed the guest interacting on Ask Jason, on Shark Tank, and in the news. They like when the guest does that. Okay, so now we've got another caller. His name is Fan.
He actually has called once before. This is a follow-up Ask Jason.
A follow-up.
He got in touch with Scott Simcoe, our wonderful This Week in Startups blogger, who helps us out. And Simcoe was going to just do an interview with him for the blog, and then contacted me and said, you know what, this guy's follow-up is really interesting. You should consider him for an Ask Jason.
Absolutely, and you know what else is very interesting is Power VPS.
It is interesting.
You need to get on there and get this 30-day money-back guarantee upgrade, and these upgrades fit your growing needs. You can choose from all the different controls, all these different hosting packages, and if you are a This Week in Startups maniacal viewer and listener, you can use the code TWIST, T-W-I-S-T, and get 25% off. Cloud hosting is the way to go for your startup. You don't want to buy zillions of servers and have all these weird system operation people working for you. I can tell you that. No, they're good people, but it can get a little crazy. When you're starting out, you put your servers in a cloud, and Power VPS is going to do really good by you. 1-877-HUG-CLOUD, 1-877-HUG-CLOUD. Go see Power VPS. Fan, what is your question?
Hi, Jason. Hi, Lon. So last time I called, I asked about marketing and how we should market our startup Blank Label, co-creating custom men's dress shirt. You told us to focus on product, which we've done, and it's worked well. It's worked really well. We went from 100 orders a month to 250 to 1,000 last month, and this actually became a problem. A really big problem. We're an amateur team, not versed in many things, definitely not in operations, and we screwed up pretty badly. Not BP badly, badly. So my question, at what stage in a startup do you start bringing in the professionals?
Okay. So I remember your Blank Label program. I know that, if I remember correctly, my piece of advice was send out a couple of these shirts for free, or coupon codes so that people build their own shirt to social media optimizers. And I'm trying to find what was your domain name again? There you go, Blank-Label. And somebody actually came up to me, Tyler, and had gotten one of the shirts. And you go in here, it's an incredibly well thought out shirt. It's a well thought out site where you customize your own shirt, and you can do things like pick. Oh, I see. So you have a little bit of overwhelming demand, which is good. You go in here and you pick what fabric you want, and I say I want orange because orange is the color of my Tesla, and then I pick the style, and I say I like this style or whatever, and you get the idea. I want this type of collar, so I'm going to put a blue collar with a orange shirt, I look like a maniac. No, blue, orange and blue. That's like the Knicks. Cuff style, I'm going to put blue. I love this. I still love this idea.
It's a great concept.
Why haven't I done this
fun.
yet? I should be doing this because I want to, look at that. Look at that. Now I got like a nice shirt that's turning into a Knicks shirt.
Knicks theme. Well, that's what they say. You can tell the really, really rich people because their collars and their shirts are different color.
That's how you know the rich
That's
people.
how you know it's a custom shirt.
All right, so basically what happened is you guys started to get a lot of traction. People start ordering, and then what happens? You can't keep up with the orders. Is that the problem?
Right. So I guess we found production hard to scale. There are limited number of tailors, limited number of machines, limited number of space. We just moved into a new facility with more tailors, and then traffic kept spiking, customers kept spiking, and it takes, for us, we found that it takes time. And given that we're not experts in these types of things, we started to get some really big press as well, which kind of further exacerbated that.
All right. All right. So what we call this in life is a high-class problem that you have. You are having a hard time keeping up with demand. Thank God. Most people can't keep up with demand. So in every situation where you have a weakness, what you want to try to do is to figure out how to take your biggest weakness and make it your biggest strength. The weakness here is that you can't keep up with the 1,000 orders that you've gotten. How many orders a month can you truly handle? Is it 500? Is it 250? 750? What's the number?
It's probably around 500 this month, and we're trying to scale that up. So I guess the real focus of the question is if we brought in professionals, operational professionals, both in Shanghai where we do our manufacturing as well as logistics professionals on the redistributed side, we could probably scale that quicker. If we had professionals, and we could probably grow quicker as a company. Now, in your previous startups, in your past two previous startups, you didn't raise money and you decided to kind of learn yourself and track and do it.
Yeah, I think you're starting to zero in on the point, which is if you build your startup correctly, even if you're inexperienced, you should get to a point where it's growing faster than you can handle. That is a good sign. Then you have to decide, okay, do I hand this over to somebody who's more experienced, or do I step up and learn? I am of the school, you want to be part of that latter group, which is you drown in all this opportunity, and then you get focused on learning and iterating and figuring out how to scale it yourself because you want to understand how this is done. Doesn't mean you can't hire somebody with more experience than you, but I don't think the idea of handing it over to somebody at this point is a good idea. What I would do is a little kung fu, if I may, which is you can do 500 shirts a month. I would make blank label 500 shirts a month for 500 amazing individuals receiving 500 amazing shirts, or 500 amazing shirts for 500 unique individuals every month. And June is sold out, and July is sold out. Click here to reserve for August. It's a $100 down payment for your shirt, and we will send you have your reservation. So now, blank label is synonymous with only 500 shirts and a money-back guarantee, and you raise the prices 10%. That's what you need to do. Prices go up 10%, you have a little bit more buttery room. Money-back guarantee, perhaps, where you show even more confidence. I don't know if you have that already, but why not? If you raise the price 10% and you know that only 1 out of 20 will return it, boom. And you say, this is what we do. We do 500 shirts a month. And perhaps next year, we're going to consider going to 600 or 1,000 a month. But right now, it's 500 a month. And let you be 3 months behind. Let there be a line outside. There are a bunch of numbnuts out here in Los Angeles and New York who are waiting in line for cupcakes. Cupcakes have 4 ingredients. You could make cupcakes for 25 cents each in the same amount of time that some people are waiting in line for cupcakes. I can understand waiting an hour in line for an iPhone, because you can't make that at home. But if you're waiting in line for an hour for a cupcake, you are an idiot. Because you could go to the store, buy the ingredients, and make your own cupcakes, or go to any other store and get cupcakes. There's nothing unique about these cupcakes. They're cupcakes. It's sugar, butter, and flour. There's nothing unique. I'm not saying they're not tasty. No rational person would argue that. But people are creating a false sense of scarcity. They're ringing people up slowly. It's like when you go to the club and they're like, oh my God, everybody's waiting outside, and then you get inside and it's empty. It's obvious what's going on. They're creating demand. That's what Groupon does, right? They create demand. We had Andrew on, or Gilt Group. They're creating demand in a world where there isn't much demand. There's too much supply. There's only going to be available for 12 hours. You have to buy, this pair of jeans. Blah, blah, blah. There's a million jean stores out there that are sucking wind. These jeans they created this whole phenomenon. Why? They lowered the price. They convinced some knuckleheads that at the jean company to give it to them for a third the price. They only put it, it's marketing. You heard Gilt Group last week. They're working it. They're creating false scarcity. There's a million places to get a custom shirt. I wouldn't say that on the air to all of the people out there. But you've created a more fun experience for it. And these are classic shirts now. You've got a really cool thing. If it's 3 months backed up, you could email everybody on the list and say, we are about to do the fourth quarter reservations. There are 1,500 shirts being made this fourth quarter. Please click here. You have up to 3 shirts for the fourth quarter. You've been allotted. I just got an email about the Tesla IPO. I was allotted a certain number of shares as one of the early customers, and I took them. But that's how an IPO works, actually. They go around, they do a, what do they call that? A roadshow, and it builds up demand, and then they sell it, and then there's a lot of demand for it. That's why you see sometimes IPOs go up in the time after that. So, God, love your scarcity, love the fact that this stuff is in demand, and rise to the occasion and keep learning. I mean, you're making shirts. It can't be that difficult. And you'll come up with all kinds of interesting ways to scale it. And when you have your IPO, make sure I get 5,000 shares. How did we do, Fan?
Fantastic. The first time around, we had a crazy spike in traffic and crazy amount of sales. I hope that we have the same success with the advice this time.
Yeah, 500 shirts for 500 amazing individuals. Lon, what are your thoughts?
I think that's brilliant. I think it's the Woot.com strategy.
Yeah.
It's like you could get most of the stuff that's on Woot.com. You could buy it from other places. There's nothing that makes it that specific. But people go nuts when they offer, especially. I was talking to them this morning because we may do some collaborative stuff with This Weekend. But when they put one of their branded sort of bag of crap, they call it the Woot bag of crap. When they put that out there, people go nuts because you can only get it once every couple weeks, and it's like there's nothing in there that's so amazing and mind blowing. But they've created this buzz and hype around it because they don't put it up there every day. Every day they have different deals and fun stuff. They've kind of got a Groupon-ish sort of strategy. But when they put those up there, they go in 5 minutes because everybody piles on because they want to get it because they've created this sort of hype. And there's no reason he couldn't do the same thing.
And I've never seen a site that does something as elegant as this in terms of shirt creation.
I
wear custom shirts.
I want to go get a shirt.
And here is my Knicks flavored shirt, orange and blue. And I'm going to send this to LeBron James. I'm sure you can make a shirt with his size on it. Actually, that's a great idea. Here's another killer marketing idea for you. You send a custom shirt to LeBron and to Chris Bosh from the Knicks, and you send that to the press because that's in the news right now. Or let's say the BP executive, something, you send them a shirt, or you just figure out some meme and you figure out how to, or like somebody loses in the finals, the Boston Celtics lose, and you send the coach a Boston Celtics green and white shirt and say, hey, don't feel so bad. Like, this is the funny thing to do. I mean, you could start really, and you do it in the press, like entire Celtics starting team gets Celtic custom shirts. Sorry for your loss, or for the Lakers. Each Ron gets a set of 5. We sent 5 shirts to Ron Artest for being such an incredible defensive force.
1 for him, 1 for his therapist.
Yes, 1 for him and 1 for his therapist. Well, there you get the funny twists on how to do this on Twist. Clever stuff. That's what you want to be. You want to do those purple cows, clever stuff, things that stand out. Fan, keep crushing it. Love the site. Where are you based, Fan?
Shanghai.
You're in Shanghai. Open Angel Forum coming to Shanghai next year.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Great.
So we need some angel investors, and I will see you. We'll go over to the Bund, and we'll pop some bottles of Veuve Clicquot.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate it.
Cheers.
Get some street noodles.
Street noodles, very tasty. All right, so we're doing pretty good.
That's 2. 45 minutes for 2.
Not bad.
Halfway through.
Not bad. Sometimes I get a little caught up. How are we doing, guys? Let me ask everybody in the chat room. Rate my answer on the last call. So let's rate the answer. How good was the answer? Let's rate it on 2 factors. How good was the advice? So advice, a number, 1 to 10. And then how entertaining was the advice delivered on a scale of 1 to 10? How interesting and entertaining was I?
So 9s and 10s.
Advice, okay, so I see a 10 and a 9. I see a 10. We are entertained, which is what I like to hear.
Are you not entertained?
Yes, sir.
Are you not entertained?
You have to have the second part of this clip, Will, though. It's, are you not entertained? Is that not why you've come here?
Not why you've come here?
Is that not why you've come
Yeah.
here? Okay, good. So we're doing well. Let me ask this, though. Then on the first call with Goldman Design, our friend Kevin, who had the design firm, was asking about compensation. Let's talk about Kevin's call for a second. Everybody stop rating for a minute. Good. Everybody stop. How good was the advice for the first caller? Advice 1 to 10, and how entertaining was the advice?
Oh, I see Matthew's in our chat room. He's our iPad blogger.
Oh, Matthew's our iPad blogger.
Matthew DP.
Oh, good. We really need to have really good show notes. The first one was too long. That was great. You were entertained. Okay, good. I just want to get a little more feedback from the crew. So my second answer was better than my first, so generally. But they were both pretty good.
Both pretty good.
Okay, good. That's why we want. You know what? I used to ask everybody to rate the show at the end of the show. I forgot to do that. But then I saw the great interaction that they were doing on This Week in Comedy and This Week in Movies when you did the movie quiz.
Yes.
And I was a viewer, and I realized, God, when I'm a viewer of This Week in Movies, I really enjoyed the quiz. And there were only 2 questions. I would have done that quiz for the entire effing show.
The Cinema Cipher.
The Cinema Cipher was great,
Yeah.
and I think you need to have more interaction with the audience on these shows. Even though when you listen to the podcast, you might be a little, after the fact, you might not be as interesting.
I mean, if you make it like a puzzle, though, people can still think about it until we give the answer.
That's true.
So
Okay, good point.
you
So
can't
maybe
win,
on tape. Okay, here we go. Let's do our third Ask Jason, and then we're going to go on to the Shark Tank, which everybody loves. Ken, are you there?
I am.
All right, Ken, you look like you're about to... you know what you look like? You could be one of those guards from Cloud City. You know the guards in Cloud City?
In Yavin, yes.
In Yavin.
Yavin? Bespin? What's the name of the Cloud
where they have
City?
you have to put a brick on this side that you can press buttons on. But can we pull up the still image from that? Who is the guards in
Cloud City. I think it's
Cloud City.
Is it Bespin? Is that the name of the Cloud City?
Bespin.
It's Bespin.
Yeah. Guards in Cloud City. Here we go. Yeah. Here's the dude. You look like your Lando Calrissian's dude.
Really? I was going to say he kind of looks like the guy from The Mummy before he turns into the Mummy.
No, here, look, that's the guy right there. Top left. That's the dude.
Oh, wow, that's good, Jason. That's
pretty
right
good.
On.
That's a pretty good one, huh?
That is right on, yeah.
I'm kind of feeling like that's you. you did the, because you know what happened was when Lando Calrissian finally decided to do the right thing.
Yes. Right, he's betrayed his friends, and then he realizes the error of his ways.
Yeah. Here, put it one more time, side by side. Let me see this one more time.
Wow.
I think that's basically you. There you go. Well, we loved you in that performance. You don't look like a day older.
He is brilliant in that.
Okay, where are you calling from, Ken?
I'm from, I guess originally from Toronto, living in Ottawa now, Ottawa, Ontario.
Okay, so you're in Canada. That's great. What's your question?
Okay, so essentially, my company is called Civi-Side.com, and what we do is we help military find their next job. We've created a brand new way to do it, really, really innovative. And so we have this sort of issue right now is that our business development is ahead of our product development. And the biggest issue here is that we've got this really tremendous opportunity for publicity to put it out there now, but our product won't catch up for another 2-3 months. So I don't want to lose the chance. So you can see it actually there, what you're showing there on the bottom sort of corner there. It says guaranteed interview program. That's our big sort of opportunity. Essentially what we're doing is we're helping or enabling employers to demonstrate tangibly that they are supportive of military transitioners. So they can take that logo, either of those logos actually, and just put it on their website. Or on their, so the recruitment website, their marketing collaterals, they can put it on job postings, anything like that. And it's a universal symbol so that both military and employers can connect, and it's completely free. It's a passive way for them to attract quality candidates.
Okay, number one, killer idea.
Thank you.
Great idea.
It's a great idea. If you were on Shark Tank, I think you would have gotten a very high mark for it. Essentially, this is a logo, a good housekeeping seal of approval, if you will, that an employer can put on their employment page that says, if you do our country the honor of servicing in the military, we will do you the honor of guaranteeing at least an interview. It's the least we can do.
Seems fair.
Seems pretty fair to me. I'm not out there on the front lines risking getting hit by one of these explosive devices on the side of the road. I mean, it's really serious stuff going on in the world right now. It's tremendously dangerous. And I would immediately put this on my site.
Sure.
So the issue here is, if I remember correctly, because you did email me, and looking at the site, maybe the site is not ready for prime time. maybe it's a little rough around the edges. Is that what we're talking about here?
Well, I mean, it's more like, I think the design is good enough. It has the basic features, which is download the logo. This is what the program is, and then on the left side, you can see it's like they can create a Civi-Side resume. And what that enables employers to see is if they create a Civi-Side resume, our logo's in the top left corner, so that an employer immediately knows, hey, this is a military transitioner, and they can just, instead of having to see, is this person military and do they have the qualifications, we just let them see this person's military immediately, and then do they have the qualifications for that job.
Yeah, and so the issue is you have a big opportunity to blow this out with some press event that's going to occur. Should you grab that press attention, or should you clean this up a little bit? And then what is your true business here? Because this is just a marketing program you have. What's your true business? Okay, well,
it's not hard to describe, except for to say essentially what we're doing is we've turned around the whole model. So instead of something like military.com does or GI Jobs, we've turned it around. Instead of looking at those 20% of jobs that are actually actively advertised, we're helping our clients, our military users, tap the hidden job market. So those people who wouldn't otherwise be able to recruit those military, but can now recruit them through things like Twitter and Facebook, LinkedIn. We have a really specialized way of helping them do that. But like I said, our development is behind our product development is behind our business development. And the problem is, because we're completely unfunded, we need, our developer can only work 2 days a week doing it, and he can't get this done fast enough.
Welcome to being an entrepreneur.
Sure.
The developers are behind your vision, and there's technical issues, there's business issues, there's financial issues. Guess what? I'm dealing with these same things all the time. And I am a blown out, seasoned 15-year veteran who can get, funding for stuff. And I still deal with this. I'm still waiting for things from the development team on all of my companies, including my investments. I've got problems with all kinds of different little bugs and features of every investment I'm in. And every company I talk to, whether it's an investment in Gowalla, GDGT, Blippi, Challenge Post, Postabon, all these companies doing a great job crushing it, every CEO and founder I talk to, same story. I need another Java developer. I need another LAMP developer. I need another Cassandra database MySQL person, Smarty Pants, all these great things. It just, we're behind because of the developers, or we need this thing in sales, or we need to get this thing done. That is being an entrepreneur. So really your question is, at what point do I release product, even if it's not ready, even if we're not ready to keep up with it? There's two different schools of thoughts here. One is, don't worry, be crappy, which is what Guy Kawasaki always says. And the other one is, interestingly enough, maybe the Steve Jobs one, which is, we will release an iPad-like device when iPads can be a great experience, but not before then. And we will release cut and paste when we get it right, not before then. There's the Android version of the world, which is, let's release this stuff, you figure it out, put it in the wild, and then people's batteries are getting drained too fast, and computers are crashing, and there's different size screens, and it's bedlam like the Windows operating system, but it has 98% market share. The truth is, both ways will work. It will be two different types of life. One way of life, you will be catching your tail, apologizing for the problems, and learning fast in the market, and maybe you'll come off as a little bit amateurish. The other way, you may never get your product released, you may run out of money, and some competitor may come and kick your ass because they get the idea out there before you do. And you may never learn what the market really wants. So, clearly, neither of these models is better than the other. There is a balance between these two that you have to strike as an entrepreneur. You must balance sitting and waiting for the product to be perfect with getting user feedback early and often. But you don't want to put a product out that's so foobarred, fracked up beyond any repair, that it is fracked up beyond any repair. You don't want to damage your brand. Frankly, you have a great idea. Your site design, not so great. Your logo for the GI thing looks kind of amateurish. I rated a 6, maybe a 5. Could be a 10 with another 2 weeks of work. It says G.I. Guaranteed interview program. You know what's wrong with this logo? I can tell you 10 things that's wrong with this logo. Number one, the handshake looks like it was drawn by like a 5-year-old. It's like a pixelated handshake. I'm going to give it to you hard because you need to hear it. G.I. doesn't make grammatical sense. It should be G.I. if it's an abbreviation. It says guaranteed interview program, and that's in one sentence. It shouldn't be like that. It should be stacked. Guaranteed interview program. so that when I take this, I don't have this big open white space right here. Right? So these are little tiny blocking and tackling things. What I just explained to you, you may not have the ability to know. Maybe you know it already, just haven't gotten the designer on the phone to fix it. Maybe you don't have the budget to fix it. Maybe you haven't convinced anybody to invest in the company, blah, 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 blah. You could have learned this one of two ways. One is by talking to people who are good designers. Two is by putting it in the market and having somebody tell you that logo doesn't fit on my site and it looks ugly, or people not taking it because they're from some professional company and they go, you know what, that's not designed well enough to be on the Sony website. So there's all different ways you can learn the same facts. Do you want to learn it by getting your ass kicked in the market? Do you want to learn it by sitting around and working in your little bubble? It's a stylistic thing. At different points in my life, I have flip-flopped on this issue and struggled with it, to be totally honest. Most of my life and career has been, don't worry, be crappy, push that shit out. Push that sugar out, and let's see how it does. That being said, for example, This Week in Startups, I said, you know what? I want This Week in Startups, put 2 microphones in the room, and we're going today. Done. There are other times I've said, you know what? This Weekend is launching a lot of sites. I would like to see an in the can episode 0 of This Week in Comedy, This Week in Movies, This Week in Film, This Week in Video Games, This Week in whatever. Do an episode 0 and then watch it. And I would like show notes, and I would like Kevin Pollak to get a link to see it. I would like to see it, and I'd like to have a frank discussion if this show is ready for prime time, because now we're putting shows up against the standard of Kevin's show, my show, This Week in Cloud Computing, other shows that have high standards, and we're being compared to Leo Laporte's amazing portfolio of shows, or Kevin Rose and Dig, Rev 3's amazing shows. So I want a little more scrutiny and a little more detail, etc. So we raised the bar there. Don't release it early. Release it a little bit later. But not so late. I didn't say do 5 episodes, did I?
No, just we're doing one, and then the next week usually we have a.
What has your experience been with that as a creative director?
We're actually sort of balancing. I think our website, we're definitely being experimental. We're pushing stuff. We're trying things out. We just started doing like reruns in a loop on Ustream, which is a little hinky, but we're sort of figuring it out. At the same time, we've decided to take the more strategic, let's wait on shows and not push a show out until we're ready. I think it's going really well, and I think if you look at episode 1, the actual first episode of most of our shows, they're a very high level of quality for the first time. I mean, most of these hosts have never hosted things before.
Right.
And they're coming out polished. I mean, that first episode of This Week in Comedy, the first episode of This Week in Movies, it seems like everybody's comfortable with each other.
You're starting at a 7 or an 8.
Yeah.
Not a 4, 5, or 6, which is where, frankly, we started before.
And I think that that's important for video, especially if you're asking people to invest an hour, 90 minutes in a show. If they watch one and they don't think it's that good, they may not come back and check out another one.
Especially if you have $10,000 in advertising a week from advertisers, and you have now 400,000 downloads a week, and Kevin Pollak's going to recommend This Week in Comedy. I'm going to recommend it. You're going to tweet it. Other people are going to tweet it. It's got to have a basic level of quality.
I just think people will go check out a website 2 or 3 times. They may not check out a show.
I think Civi-Side and this guaranteed interview program, and I don't understand why Civi-Side and there's this other program called GI Interview Program. You're kind of building 2 brands simultaneously. That always makes me a little nervous. Somebody told me recently, building any brand nationally costs like $5 million. This is from years ago, the statistic. So building 2 concurrently means you've doubled it. So maybe this needs to just be the GI interview program, and I don't know. So there's a lot of questions. You're going to need to get a lot of feedback, and you're going to need to balance this. You could flip a coin and be successful either way. It's just what terms are you going to be successful on? Has this been helpful? Is this resonating with you?
Yes, I do have one sort of question. It's just about, like, we can fix those things about the logo and stuff like that. That's not a great difficulty for us. It's more along the lines of, first of all, when you said, things like Sony, we don't really see those companies, like, we do see them coming along eventually, but they're going to have to, hand-wring about it, and decide, is it good for us and so on. But I think that, and I'll tell you, I know there's a latent demand for this basic symbol. There are a lot of employers out there, just like you said, who would love to throw this on just to demonstrate this is our tangible support for transitioning soldiers. You're coming back from Iraq or Afghanistan. We want to give you at least an interview, help you sharpen your interview skills, help you, network better, and then each interview leads to eventually a job at some point. So I want to put it out there now. And the second thing is, I mean, there's nothing patentable about this. This is, the most we can do is trademark our own logo, right? So what I'm concerned about is that we put this out, or it gets out, someone else says, hey, we're military.com, we should be doing this. So I feel like I need to go on the offensive right now for this to make sure that it's our brand and that it's the universal symbol for it.
Okay, so 2 things there. Number 1, I ideas are easy and execution is hard. That's what you're learning right now. So you had this idea. Other people probably have this idea. They probably haven't executed on it. Maybe some people have and it didn't do well. So getting out, getting to market, and getting traction, you can always iterate. So if I said, you know what, your logo's a 4 or 5 in my mind, you launched it, you got some people involved, you got a couple clients, you got a couple of G's in revenue, you could hire a professional designer and do it for $500 or $1,000 and make it a 7 or 8. Then you may get some $10,000 clients and you hire some design firm to spend months iterating on it, and you make it a, you spend $3,000 and all of a sudden you got an incredible one. And it's a 10 of 10, it's perfect. So that is the balance. That's the don't worry, be crappy versus the perfection. Perfection is the enemy of progress. You cannot get perfection out of the gate, and if you do try to get perfection, you will fall into the trap of we never got our product to market and somebody outran us. But you can't, again, be incompetent when your product comes out and be so bad that it doesn't resonate with people, it doesn't work. Friendster, MySpace, etc. I mean, actually, we just had the previous caller from Blank Label discuss what happens when you go out too quick. You have too many customers and things are screwed up and you have to catch up and apologize. I would rather be in Blank Label's position than be the guy who never launched a site. I would rather get in the game and lose a couple of G's playing and then make it back the next time I'm on high stakes poker than have never played and had my opportunity. I'd rather get out there and put myself out there and try. So I am a fan of getting out there and then iterating fast. Some people may differ on this topic.
No, I mean, they want me to disagree more in the chat room. So.
Do they really?
That's ridiculous. What are you talking about? That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, I think, yeah. I mean, I think the perfect is the enemy of the good, is what somebody said in the chat room, and I agree. Get it out there, iterate. I think an interesting point, and something we've talked about a lot on some of the other shows, is people outside of the tech world don't tend to understand that all the time. They think like, I go to Target and I buy something, it's going to work. It wouldn't be in Target if it wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
And the internet is a different animal. Sometimes people put things out because they have a great idea and they want to see how to make it work.
And you're not paying for it, so you are getting what you paid for.
There was that story a few weeks ago about the woman who's suing Google because Google Maps gave her incorrect directions.
She got hit by a car?
She got hit by a car because she thought there was a sidewalk where there wasn't a sidewalk.
But when you walk down the street and you don't see a sidewalk...
It was in Park City, Utah. It was night, and if you've been there, it's very dark at night. Sometimes it's hard to see. But yes, you shouldn't assume just because a little computer says there's a sidewalk there. You use your eyes and your common sense to determine if there's a place to go. And I think that's what we're starting to see is there's a generation of people that grew up with the idea that products are out there and the government's looking over them and the Better Business Bureau.
Right.
It's going to work every time, guaranteed. And if it doesn't, I file a lawsuit. And the internet, not the same.
Yeah, you basically sign up for the terms of service, which says we offer this product however we want to offer it, and you take it or leave it, and if you don't like it, then go make one that's better yourself.
And most Web 2.0 companies sort of adopted that philosophy.
So Ken, you've basically been given the advice, do whatever you want.
Sure, yeah, I appreciate that. No, it's good. It is good advice, and it's I mean, it's not better advice, but it's different advice from what I've been getting from other people. So I think that's valuable in itself.
How would you qualify the other person? Is the other person somebody who works with a lot of resources, maybe is over 50?
Yes.
Okay. So people who are from the last generation like to do things right. They like to raise a lot of capital, probably. They might do it the right way. If you're going to do it the right way. That's how a lot of people feel. And that's understandable, and you can see product excellence in somebody like Steve Jobs, but also the iPhone comes out, and they're like, the big story yesterday was like, here's a list of all the problems with the new iPhone.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about this in the news.
Yeah, there's this problem, there's this problem, there's this problem, there's this problem. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Steve Jobs is doing customer support, replying to CK Sample, who used to work here at Mahalo, saying like, oh, here's how you deal with the antenna problem.
Steve Jobs?
Even Steve Jobs.
Where are they? I got a special evil Steve Jobs graphic, and I told them when I say Steve Jobs, they have to hit it, and they missed it.
Really? They missed the cue.
Kenny missed his cue.
They didn't expect. Oh, Kenny missed his cue?
We'll practice one more time. Did you say Steve Jobs? Thank you. I feel better.
That's pretty funny. Is that basically going to be across every show on this weekend?
I'm trying to get it on every show. We started it on iPad. I definitely told Ashley to do it on mobile today.
It's pretty funny.
We'll see if we bring it up.
It's a pretty funny Easter egg. All right, good job, Ken, and I hope the advice helps a little bit. You can't go wrong by trying, because you miss 100% of shots you don't take.
There you go.
Absolutely. I appreciate that.
People in the chat room, please tell me, how did we do on that question and answer? What do you think of the advice? Advice, a number from 1 to 10. 10 being the perfect advice, 9 being really good advice, 8 being solid, 7 being, 2 being advice Jimmy Wales would give you. And then how entertaining was it? Entertaining, 8, 9, or 10, me on a good or average day. 1, 2, or 3 would be like Mike Arrington on his best day in terms of entertainment.
Clearly, Kenny was just holding the button wrong. If he held the button right, this wouldn't happen.
Kenny has a hard time with the concept of the button.
Just wasn't if he held it right. That's why it's screwing up. He needs a case for it.
A case for the button.
Like that's what Steve Jobs would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Just hold it right.
Just hold it the way I tell you.
Yes.
Then it'll work.
Have you never held a phone, for the love of God? Okay. More military specifics in the advice would have been helpful, but hey, you're a civilian. Yeah, I mean, I cannot advise somebody on the military nuance. I did see in there somebody was like, hey, GI is an Army person.
Right, somebody pointed out. I think that's a fair, it seems like it's branded just for the Army.
Well, and that would be an astute observation that would come from what we call domain expertise, and that's why you want to have domain expertise in and around your startup. Okay, so we have somebody who is going to pitch us on the Shark Tank. And one thing that I don't really need to pitch you on is WebSpy, because you know how great WebSpy is. WebSpy, go give it a try. Jack was on the program. He has been a great supporter. He hosted the meetup Down Under. And WebSpy monitors all kinds of server activity, from employee internet access to mail service to web hosts, analyze for traffic levels, patterns, errors, and more. You need to know what's going on in your network. Bottom line, especially when you start having a lot of people working in your office or in your server farm, you want to know what exactly is going on there. You could be getting attacks. You could have people doing illegal things inside your company. You want to know exactly what's going on with the traffic on your network, and most people ignore it. You don't need to ignore it anymore, because you're going to get a great deal from WebSpy. It's very affordable, and it's a total log analysis solution. We really appreciate their support, and if you appreciate the fact that this show is free and published consistently with an incredible amount of dexterity, insight, and technical achievement, then you should thank at DNA Mail, at WebSpy, at PowerVPS, and at Ustream in Twitter and Facebook and all those places.
Everywhere.
And they see it and they love it. And that's why they sponsor. That's why sponsorships are sold out for the rest of the year. And
they keep coming back. That's the thing we're most proud of, is our sponsors.
You know what? I also see people saying, like, hey, I tried DNA Mail, it's really good. Or I tried WebSpy, it's really good. I tried PowerVPS, it's very good. Ustream works very well. I have an account. Okay, we only take people we only take sponsors on the network who we actually like their products or whatever. There was actually. That's very true. Is it true that the backup company that we like a lot is sponsoring a show? There's a backup company that I use. I don't want to say their name if it's not been announced.
Yes, we haven't officially announced it yet. They're not officially
on board. Is the contract signed?
I believe it is, but I don't want to say for sure, because that's not my department. But it looks very good.
Somebody find out. Maybe Roberta, you tell me on the chat here.
I don't think we have the IO.
We don't have the IO, then I'm not going to say it.
Right, but I know the company you're talking about, and it looks very promising.
I would be very happy if that was if that happened.
I believe in July they are planning.
Right. Well, if we have a signed IO, I'll tell people who it is now, just as a little thank you to them. Oh, and thank you to my friends. I forgot to do this. The guys at Drobo, which make that incredible Drobo unit.
Yes.
They have been so good to us.
And this is really one of the things that makes this weekend possible.
Drobo has these crazy units, and they're not a sponsor of the network, but they have given us a couple of these units gratis for our use. And I have one personally at home that they gave me, and I love it. The Drobo is a storage unit. Basically, you buy this, four drive one. We have one of these 4 drive ones here. Yeah. And you just throw in like a 2 terabyte drive, you plug in another one, the green light goes on, it's addressable to everybody on the network, and you have unlimited storage. You run out of storage, you plug another one in, and it does like a RAID array, like that RAID array thing, RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 2, whatever. Right. And so if one of the drives fails, you just press a button, pop it out, and you plug in one of those drives. And you don't even need to install a drive like my mom could do it. And you buy those cheapo drives for $99. I can
do it.
Well, that says something. $99, you buy a 1 gig drive. Well, if you put 4 of them in there, you got like 3 gigs of addressable storage, and one of them can fail, or you can set it up for 2 to fail, whatever it is.
And like I said, especially with the rerun shows that we're doing on YouTube, we couldn't do it without the
Well,
Drobo
now there's
units.
so much content. You're doing whatever it is, 25, 50 hours of content a week. It winds up being a lot of storage, and you have 9 people working here trying to get them through. So Drobo, thank you so much. I mean, they probably sent us like 10 G's worth of stuff by this point. And they don't even have a sponsorship, so I'm just going to thank Drobo right now and start that sponsorship early. And I am a fan of the product. I use it at home.
And all our products that we have on the This Week in Shows, we're all fans. We only want to take sponsors that we like and we feel good about.
It makes it easy for me to do the
right.
And it's becoming a little bit of a competition to who can do the best ads. I think
it is, yeah.
I think Mark Jeffrey has the best now.
Mark
singing
Jeffrey,
the Storm on Demand
and Verticore.
And Verticore, oh Verticore, oh Verticore.
We were saying last night, we get it stuck in our head.
Verticore.
You should be using Verticore. Yeah.
Verticore.
It gets
Storm on Demand. Mark Jeffrey.
We got to get him a Viking hat.
Absolutely.
A little
but it's funny because you do know the advertisers on each show, and it's really part of our job is to sell it. So I want to have a competition between all of the hosts of who can do the most creative thing with the advertisers.
I've got a video. We have a signed contract, so I can make it. I have a video coming up that we did for Gazelle.com. We're coming on board this week on iPad. Gazelle.com. Spelled just like the animal, Gazelle.com. You can sell your used electronics.
I heard about this, yes.
Gazelle. So we did a whole video within the iPhone line the other day at 3rd Street Promenade that we're going to debut next week.
I'm pulling up Gazelle right here. So if I want to get rid of, I have iPhone 3G.
I have my iPhone 3G as well that I'm going to
get rid of this. How much could I?
I think my quote the other day was.
Well, look at the price history here. Oh, that is so dope. Yeah. So it was going for.
You were getting as much as $400
used, and now it's. Drop down to $137.
$100.
I'll take $137 because I'm buying it for $199. That means I almost get my new phone for free.
That's what I'm doing it with Gazelle. Wow. That's how I'm getting my iPhone 4.
So you give them your old electronics and get cash.
You get cash back.
With Gazelle.
They'll send you a check. They'll do it through PayPal, or they'll send you an Amazon gift card.
Oh, I'll take the Amazon gift card.
Just get something else through Amazon. It's a great service. Fast, free shipping.
Thanks you to Gazelle and Drobo. 2 free ads done there in the program.
There you go.
Somebody tell Mo so he can.
Mo will be delighted.
Mo's gonna go. I really appreciate. Mo, it's funny. Mo's funny when he comes out. He's like very. I can tell Mo is like in awe of me or scared to talk to me, one or the other, because he comes up to me and he's like, "Is it okay to talk to you now?" And I'm like, "Yes." And he's like, "I'm working on a sponsorship." I'm like, "You're in sales. That's what you do, you know." I'm gonna get it. I'm good, Mo. You go get it. I feel like I'm talking to somebody.
He's had a crazy couple of weeks, though. I mean, lots of great new sponsorships coming on board. He's working on lots.
You know what? I love a guy who works hard, and I love the fact that he's respectful and whatever. But I mean, I am just a human being. You can just come up and you don't have to ask if you can talk to me. You can just talk to me.
Well, you're a little intimidating at times. Just a little bit.
What does that mean, Lon?
Not me. I mean, generally.
That's what you say these things that don't help the I'm just kidding. God damn it, Lon.
People wanted me to be more combative. I'm trying.
More combative. Okay, so now we do Shark Tank. Shark Tank. Okay, yes, and so some people were asking about the checking in for the launch conference. You can do that in the chat room and on Twitter. You can say, I want to go to thelaunchconference.com. Thank you at Jason. I love you. Or something like that.
Something along those lines. And
some gratuitous thing that I'm a genius or that my insights are incredible or better looking than Lon or Tyler. I mean, whatever. Just say something nice about me.
Something nice.
And then say thelaunchconference.com.
Right.
And good news, I signed it before I got in here. People like, I'm like Tony Stark. I walk and people just hand me papers that I sign, like Pepper Potts. I'm getting like, Kroot's my Pepper Potts. But he's like handing me stuff like, sign this. I'm like, sure, I'll sign that. I'm like, what is this? He's like, oh, it's a contract for the launch conference location. We have the dates. And I'm going to announce the dates.
Exciting.
It's February. And if Roberta asks Kroot for the dates, she can put it in the chat room. I don't know the exact 2 dates off the top of my head, but Roberta will go find the dates, and you'll know the dates. You can put them on your calendar. It's going to be so exciting. We're going to kick Disrupts, but it's going to be much better than TechCrunch Disrupt. Mike Arrington will rue the day that he kicked me out of TechCrunch 50 and destroyed all that millions of dollars in value, because now I own 100% of Launch, and I don't have to deal with Mike Arrington's shenanigans.
Oh.
I got called to the lawyers for Fusion Garage called me.
The makers of the what used to be the Crunch Pad. Juju Pad,
and they're like,
Juju Pad.
Is this Jason Calacanis? I'm like, you know, and it's a 415 number, and I never pick up the calls, but I was in San Francisco, so I'm like, oh, maybe it's somebody important. Hello, yeah. Yes, I'm the lawyer for the Juju Pad, the Fusion Garage, and the lawsuit against Michael Arrington. Can I talk to you? I was, no. Well, no, but you were going to be an investor in the Crunch Pad. Okay, listen. You say you're an attorney. How do I know who you are? This could be a joke. This could be somebody recording the phone call to try to make me feel stupid. If you're an attorney, you know that you're supposed to subpoena me to do a deposition, to get anything I say on the record, whatever. Why are you calling me? And he's like, well, I just want to get background before we do that. Fine. Go subpoena me. I have nothing to do with Mike Arrington anymore. I have nothing to do with the Crunch Pad, even if I offered to invest in it or didn't, or have any inside information or don't. I don't want to be involved in lawsuits with Mike Arrington or people suing Mike Arrington or him suing other people. And I said to him, I said, why are you guys in a lawsuit? Did anybody tell you the iPad came out? And he's like, can you tell Mike Arrington the iPad came out? I was like, I think he knows. So what are you guys suing each other over? He goes, and the Juju guy said, we're not suing Mike Arrington. We're dealing with the lawsuit that he is suing us.
Yeah, he's suing them, right.
He's like, we don't want to be in a lawsuit with Mike Arrington. We're dealing with this.
Yeah, well, he's alleging that they basically took the idea that he had and are marketing it themselves.
It's moot.
Well, no, I mean, at this point, there's the iPad. Who's going to get the Juju Pad?
What was that famous Saturday Night Live skit where Jesse Jackson kept saying, the question is moot?
I think it's, Daryl Hammond is Jesse Jackson.
Okay, the launch conference will be February 23rd and 24th, the week before the TED conference, done on purpose. You can come to the launch conference. We're going to have an after-hours poker game. You can make money there. Then you can qualify to come to my off the grid, off the radar, TED poker game, and all those rich people down in TED, we can take their money.
Is Doyle Brunson going to be in attendance?
I could probably get Doyle to come.
You should get Texas Dolly.
I should bring Texas Dolly with me. I should bring Daniel to come to get that donkey TED money. I made 2 G's. I can't tell you. At the Wall Street Journal game, I made 6,400 clams. Then at the TED conference, I hosted a game, and I made $2,200. It's almost a high society.
It's not bad.
All right, here we go. Nouman, are you there?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Nouman Saleem, welcome to the program. Where are you right now?
Valencia.
Valencia?
Yeah, I work at MySpace.
You do?
Yeah, it's funny. I drove from MySpace to Valencia to be on a show that's in Santa Monica.
Very weird. You could have done this from your office. I would have told Mike Jones it's okay.
Yeah, I didn't have a laptop.
Oh, I see. Yeah, they're out of the laptops at MySpace? No more available?
It's usually desktop. They were going to set something up for me, but...
Okay. Okay, so congratulations on MySpace cleaning things up, and looks like you guys have some interesting stuff coming out. I will not say anything about that, but when Mike Jones comes back on the program, he'll tell you guys about it. Okay, you're going to pitch us. You know the rules. You have 60 seconds. Everybody in the chat room is ready to go. Everybody in the chat room should say, yes, Captain, I am ready. Aye, Captain, something to that effect. Everybody in the chat room will. Ahoy, yeah, something like that. Will rate your pitch on 2 factors. 1, how good was the pitch? So they'll say pitch, colon, the number. Then they will say, how good is the idea, 1 to 10. So if you're a sophisticated user, you can put a 10/10, and I'll know the first number is the pitch, and the second number is the idea, or you can just say pitch, the number, idea, the number. Everybody's ready. You're ready. 3, 2, go.
Social networks are great, but they distract us from what we should be doing, especially in an academic setting. Grab a seat at enrolled.in, a web service exclusively for higher education students and faculty. While offering the most essential social network features, Enrolled-in offers an academic twist. When a student joins Enrolled-in, they will have access to interact with all their peers, but more importantly, directly to classmates. Students simply join classes to communicate with both classmates and professors privately or in a group discussion. In the future, students will also be able to submit assignments, rate professors, share notes, and much more. With this platform, we currently have 2 revenue streams. Textbook referral sales, which work because the user is telling us which classes they are taking, and license featured for administrators. Overall, we plan to recreate education online and sell these tools to the universities. So sign up to get enrolled for the fall semester at www.enrolled.in.
Okay, well done. 7 seconds left. You are making a social network, ironically enough, for academia. The largest social network in the world came out of academia and then became available for everybody. So obviously you see some opportunity for an academic-only social network with that focus and the tools around it. I happen to agree with you. I thought your pitch was pretty clear. I think the sign-up page looks beautiful, and you have a little Twitter and Tumblr link at the bottom. I don't know if those are.
Click through to see the preview if you want.
Yeah, and I will. I see enrolled in there, and this is a great idea. How you make money? You could do premium features. You could do book selling. You could do all kinds of different things. I don't think that that's going to be a problem. And looking at the chat room, I see 7s, I see 6s, I see 8s, I see 4s, I see 8s, I see 6. You're getting pretty good, results. One thing I didn't hear you mention was online education and online training, University of Phoenix stuff. You left that part out.
Right.
How does that factor into all this?
Well, it's based around discussion. So you do join your class, and that's where you have an open communication, a one-to-one with your professors or your entire classmates. And that's where we come with the online tools, is what you're mentioning. And that's one of our planned features that we sell to universities, ways that they could, for example, put tests, put quizzes, or even imagine a Ustream live of a lecture.
So,
and that's where we get into the education.
Who creates the classes? Anybody can create a class, just like anybody can create a page on, Wikipedia or in Facebook. Can anybody create a page?
One of two ways. At the beginning, to get traction, we're going to open it to the students. But as it grows on, we will have, universities creating the classes or double-checking classes to make sure that they're correct. And, if everything works out great, a university could technically import their classes.
What is your distribution plan?
Right now, we're talking with our local campuses, getting them on board. I have a few professors at USC. My partner has his university at Davenport interested.
Have you raised any money for this company?
No, not yet.
How many founders are there? Who owns this idea?
I'm the designer, and the other founder is Nick Schwab. He's in the chat room. He's the developer.
Okay. This is a great idea. This is going to work. What is your background?
Oh, like where am I from?
Not so much where you're from, but what do you do? What is your skill?
Simply front-end development.
Okay.
Right now, I'm at MySpace learning some jQuery, and I'm, putting that to use when I get home.
How long have you been a front-end developer?
Probably 3 years.
Okay. Where did you work before MySpace?
Nowhere.
Okay, good. And your partner, what does he do? What's his skill?
He's still in college. He's a web developer, and he's focusing on this full-time.
What college is he in?
Davenport University. I believe that's in Michigan.
How do you guys know each other?
He met me when Sean Percival tweeted that I got the job at MySpace.
Got it.
So he was a follower of Sean and then hit me up about this idea that he had.
What does Mike Jones and the folks at MySpace think about you doing this?
I haven't talked to Mike, but directly my peers, they love the idea. They support me with it.
You haven't been doing any of this work you haven't been working on this at all at work, right?
Oh, no way. We're busy enough.
All right. So you have, this is a good segue in the discussion. You have to be very careful when you build something when you're working for another company, because you signed a lot of agreements that say your ideas are theirs, and rightfully so. Just doing the development on the weekend does not mean that MySpace does not have a claim to your ideas. In order for you to get an investment, you're going to need to get a waiver from Mike Jones, John Miller, or these other folks that says, we are not going to sue that we own any of this. You haven't discussed this with them yet, I take it. Okay, so this is something that's going to need to happen. Luckily, I know some of these folks, and you've got a good relationship with them. But that is a very important thing that other entrepreneurs who are watching the show need to know. If you plan on working on a project, and it's in any way related to what you're doing at work, or not, it's not a bad idea to go to your boss and get them to sign a waiver and tell them that you're doing this. Better to do that than get yourself embroiled in a legal battle with somebody who has a lot more ammunition and money than you do, because you will lose. Lon, what did you think about the idea? What did you rate it?
So are you saying my human-powered search engine that I've been working on,
while
we have to discuss it?
Yeah, or your video network that you're building while working for this weekend?
Lon Hollow is going to be problematic.
Lon Hollow, not so good.
Okay. I'm inclined to agree with some of the people in the chat room. I thought the pitch was great. He obviously knows.
You didn't give a number.
The pitch I'd give an 8. I think polished, obviously knows what he wants to do, has a really
I was going to give it 7.5, just
has
so you know.
a really good idea in his head of what the company is, and seemed to have a pretty good answer for any questions you could throw at him. At the same time, I have to say, I'm not 100% sold that this is something really needed, and that I think you'd have to get professors on board. If a professor starts a class and with the syllabus is saying, sign up for enroll.in. We're going to be doing a lot of the coursework over there. I'm going to be sharing articles or other things over there that I want you to see. I think that could be a great experience. But I think if you don't have the professors on board, then it's going to be really tough to get students to sign up because they're on Facebook. Some of them are still on MySpace. I mean, I think that would be the secret.
And he says,
for me.
his partner Nick says they have some professors on board.
Yeah, no, I mean, I heard that, and I think that to me is the key. I'd probably give the idea maybe a 5 or a 6, and if you can get professors on board, I'd bump that up to maybe a 7.
We have some folks in there criticizing your energy and your passion.
First pitch?
Yeah, don't take it too personal, Nouman. Let me ask you this question. Your parents, were they born in this country or another country?
No, I was born myself in Pakistan.
You were born in Pakistan. Your parents are in Pakistan.
We moved then to Brooklyn and then to California.
Okay, where in Brooklyn?
Over by where Coney Island was. It's closed down now.
Okay, Coney Island is where Coney Island was. Coney Island's still there. Nathan's still there. Okay, so you are the son of immigrants.
I'm an immigrant.
You are an immigrant yourself.
Yep.
Which means you are going to work very hard to make this a reality. But it also means you might come across as a little docile to some of the folks here. There are stereotypes in business. One of the stereotypes you have going for you is that a lot of angel investors and a lot of VCs, they like to invest in people who are children of immigrants. Why? Because we have a history in this United States of having people coming from Europe who had nothing and building this great country and the great companies and businesses in it. And we have a very big tradition in Silicon Valley of folks coming from India or Pakistan or Asia, Taiwan, China, Japan, etc., and building great companies here. So you actually have that going for you. It's in some way a reverse racism, if you will.
Awesome.
That people think, oh my God, you're an American, you're a Gen Y, you get the Gen Y trophy for participation. Oh, wait a second, this guy's coming from Pakistan, he's gonna work hard. But you also need to channel a little bit more swagger. Yeah. Because if you come from Pakistan, swagger is not what people in Pakistan have, right? No. You would say that's not like a quintessential Pakistani trait.
Not at all.
People are probably afraid to talk about race in this context of business law.
I think it is a touchy subject.
It's a touchy subject, but everything I'm saying, very true.
People in Pakistan have a lot of passion when they talk about how much they hate Facebook.
They do. With the Mohammed thing,
a lot of swagger
crazy.
When Facebook comes
so anyway, I just want to make you aware of this, that there are stereotypes out there, and you have to know about them as an entrepreneur, and you have to work them. This is an asset. Like I was saying before to Blank Shirt, you need to know what your strengths are and your weaknesses. You need to double down on your strengths, make them bigger, watch out for your Achilles heels, and take your Achilles heels and make them into a strength. If you lack the swagger, you could swagger up a little bit. You could maybe crow about a little bit more about your technical ability, professors you've gotten to sign on. You've done 10 interviews with professors. 10 out of 10 said they want this product. 9 out of 10 said they're doing this stuff currently in wikis, which are very old technology. And in your research, this is a huge place in the marketplace. They want a social network where people are not showing pictures of their beer. You could have been more passionate. And you could have been a little bit more confident and swagger. That's why you're calling into this program, is for me to fix you.
Oh, definitely.
And I will fix you. You need a little more swagger, you need a little more data, and you need to be a little more chutzpah. Now, there are people out there, typically the white guys, who have too much swagger and too much, and it's hot air. And they could use a little humility, including myself. But you have the opposite problem. You've got to bring a little more swagger to the party. This is a great idea. I would instantly approve you for Open Angel Forum.
Awesome.
And I think that you could raise money. I think that Socialcast, you know Socialcast, who was on the program?
Right.
I think Socialcast's product with your name would crush it in the space. I think that you should get together with the CEO of Socialcast. The three of us should have a lunch.
Anytime.
And we should see if he will give us his product and let us customize it for that vertical, and we can license it from him. We hit the ground running. We're way ahead of it.
Yeah.
I think I want to buy 20% of this company.
Enrolled.in, really?
This show is going to cost me 25 dimes a week.
Every time, yeah.
Every time. Who is selecting the companies to be on this program?
That would be me.
Stockbroker, I can't talk about exactly what's going on right now, but it's very exciting. And I'm not going to talk about Stockbroker for, I promise, for a month or two. And I'm not supposed to be doing any angel investing. And I have to have a long conversation with my wife this weekend because I told her 10 things a month, and now I'm at 11 or 12, and I'm going to be at 13 by the end of this conversation. This is a great idea. It's a great domain name. You have enrolled.com and you have enrolled.in. Is that correct?
I have enrolledin.com and enrolled.in.
See, this is the thing. I tried to explain this to people. When you pick a domain name, if you pick a good domain name, it signals that you know what the frack you're doing. If you pick a bad domain name, Stockbrokers is a great domain name. Enrolledin.com and enrolled.in, they're both great domain names. Enrolled.in is, you know, like got that whole .com-y young people Gen Y nonsense. Probably want to go with that. But having enrolledin.com to forward it to them, how much did those domain names cost you?
I think we've spent $25.
Jesus Christ, as great entrepreneurs.
I can't believe enrolled.com was available.
How is enrolled.com available?
That's amazing.
Oh, no, it's enrolledin.com.
But how is enrolledin.com available? It should not be available.
Just luck.
Jesus. Such a great one. I'm going to make a lot of money off this investment, too. All right, so next week, I'm going to probably go to the World Series of Poker and play in the $1,000 No Limit tomorrow. If I go a couple of days, I'm probably going to play. Well, it's not the main event.
Oh, okay. That was
preceding events. I got to get some. Probably playing the 1G tomorrow. That could go for 2 or 3 days, in which case I have to play. I'll be there on Monday or Tuesday, which means I'm going to be obligated to pay in the $1,500 one if I get knocked out. But maybe towards the end of the week, next week, we can sit down and have lunch or something. But I think, or coffee, you're here at Mahalo. You got a great idea, and it's going to be an execution thing. Have you built the back end yet, and have you mocked it up yet?
Yeah, if you click on our Tumblr at the bottom right, you can see two screenshots, and those are already built and working.
Oh, really? Hold on a second. I got to get back to enrolled in here. Enrolled in, okay. And I see the Tumblr.
The Tumblr and the second post.
Oh, wow. Yep, there you go.
There you go.
And it looks like Socialcast. It looks like very clean, yeah. So you're building this in what? LAMP? Is this PHP?
Yeah, definitely.
And you're doing the whole front end?
Front end's in HTML5 and CSS3, getting it ready.
Who's doing the data stuff on this? Because you need to get a list of all the universities and normalize that. You need to get a list of all the degrees they have.
Right now, programs. We have it so based on the email address you sign up, because it has to be .edu. It gets mapped to the database. If it's not existing, then we approve it.
Great.
And the university has its own, basically it's enroll.in / for example, Harvard, and then your username.
All right. Should I make an offer here right now and just do this again? I guess it's costing you so much money.
It's great. It's great television.
25 G's, 20% of the company, and I'll be on the board of advisors to help you raise the angel round.
We'll have the paperwork ready when we have lunch.
God damn it, we did it 2 times. 50 dimes.
My email inbox is going to start going nuts because after the last time this happened, we're getting flooded now with pitches because everybody thinks
twice.
Everybody wants to get in.
These companies are too good.
It's a lot of great ideas.
Stockbrokers is going to do incredible. This is going to do incredible. That's it. This is the last angel investment of the year. Period.
That's it.
I'm going to run out of money. It's too many investments.
I should know. People should email askjason@thisweekend.com
if
you want to be on
This Weekend.
Ask Jason or the Shark Tank. Who knows? Maybe he won't keep to his.
No, and to the people in the chat room, Alex, whatever. Hey, listen, negotiate him down or something like that. It's not going to be a negotiation. I am only going to work. I'm going to basically. This is how it's going to work. 2.5 high societies. It's 2.5 bricks. 25 dimes. For 20%, because I'm going to join the board, and I'm going to help raise the angel. I'm going to validate the model, and I'm going to help get them the $500,000 or $300,000, $750,000 angel round. I need to get my beak saturated. And Lon, of course, gets nothing.
Of course.
Lon gets nothing. Lon, source this deal, put it up on a platter. I got my big slice of pie.
Yeah.
Where me and my guys here are going to get rich, and Lon is coming to the closing dinner when we sell it.
There you go.
You're invited to the dinner. You get yourself the steak frites.
I'm in.
All right, so we're going to have a meeting at the end of this week. Let's try and close up a deal. You have an attorney yet?
No. Any good names?
I'm going to get you an attorney. We'll get this all set up. All All right, here we go. Thank you for being on the program. Thank you, Lon, for costing me. Are you going to talk to my wife about the fact it's 25 dimes out the window again? Jesus.
Does she want to pitch on the show? No more angel investments?
No more angel investing. It's crazy.
We'll have her on. We'll get her take on it.
Nouman, I'll see you later this week. This is awesome. I'm really excited about this and Stork Brokers. I'm really excited about the conference coming up.
Yeah, the launch.
Launch conference.
February.
Will be amazing. February. Maybe we'll launch at that. Oh, would that be a conflict of interest? I probably can't have my own group people investing. I'll figure it out. All right, here we go.
That's it for calls.
That's it for calls.
That's it for
Let's
calls.
go to the news. We're going to do this really quick. I want to be done by 3 o'clock.
Well, we got to hustle.
Can somebody ask my assistant to get me a mocha, no joker, from the... You want a mocha?
I'll take a mocha.
2 mochas, please.
There you go.
Put our order in.
Yeah. I love that on the air. We got to get an intercom. That's what I was thinking, like on Mad Men.
Well, I had a meeting one time with Barry Diller, and we're sitting there at the table. It's me and Barry Diller.
Yeah.
And he comes in the room, he sits down, and the door's open. And he looks at me and he says, oh, it's great to meet you. And then I see us, sort of hang like this, and the door goes,
classy.
And I said, did you just press a button to do that? How did you close the door? And he just smiled, and he goes, so tell me about what you're working on, Jason. And I was like, huh. And then I look when I'm leaving, and there's a little button under his conference desk. Boop.
Now, do you think that's intentional to throw people off?
I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it is. It's a little bit of an intimidation.
It is.
When you blow stuff out like that, let me tell you, this is why I always tell people, like, a lot of the portfolio companies I'm working with, like, you have to come in confident. It's okay to buy a $200 crisp white shirt. It's okay for you to buy a new car. This is what I'm working with you on. It's a swagger thing. You are the #2 guy at a company that's going to be worth $30 million in 2 or 3 years. You need to have a nice car. You need to have the right shoes. You need to get the hair done, and you need to have a nice crisp white shirt. There's no more shopping at the Gap for Lon Harris. Or Old Navy.
Not even the Gap.
Not even the Gap. Old Navy.
Even the Gap would be a little swanky.
You have to bring a little bit of swagger to the game in order to get those people to take you seriously. And that's when I come in. I got the custom suit on with the Xenia fabric or whatever. It sets a certain tone. It just sets a tone.
It does.
And so does, you know who else sets a tone?
Steve Jobs?
No. Jesus. Okay, let's go to the news.
All right. So speaking as I always am of Steve Jobs, we got to talk about the iPhone 4. The official release was yesterday. Hundreds of thousands of people across the world lined up at Apple stores to get their hands on the new device. Sold out almost immediately in most major cities. Best Buy, Radio Shack, Walmart, all having run out of phones due to excessive demand. Analysts suggest it may be a month until stores are able to get their hands on consistent stock. So what's new? Real quickly, front and back facing cameras, FaceTime video conferencing, high resolution screen with over 4 times the pixel count of previous iPhones. They're calling that Retina display. Multitasking, a gyroscope for motion control, HD video and editing, a 5-megapixel camera with an LED flash, and a lot of other little upgrades on the iOS software package, some of which you can try out on your older phones. I'm enjoying the folders concept.
Yes.
You can dump a lot of your programs into one folder. $199 for a 16-gig model, $299 for the 32-gig. So are you going to upgrade your phone? Do you have thoughts on the new phone? And are there any features you were hoping for that aren't present?
Of course I'm going to upgrade my phone. Anything that Steve Jobs makes, I buy. And so it's my job, though. However, I will say what they did crush it with is it's only $199, $299. It's becoming a big part of our culture to buy these Apple devices, and it goes beyond what people are willing to pay because it's now like somebody, I'm trying to think of the craze, but the cost of it is not the issue. It's like somebody buying like an Armani thing or a Coach. That would be a good example. Like there was a time when all the girls wanted to have a Coach bag, and the guys in New York wanted to have a Coach leather briefcase. And the briefcase costs $600 or $400. It's a lot of money for a briefcase compared to the $100 ones you could buy other places.
But a little Coach plate on.
Yeah, and you know what? If almost anybody could afford it. It's sort of like a $4 mochaccino. Anybody can afford the $4. It's a little bit stupid to pay $4 for it because I'm making one in here for 75 cents. But that's what it's become. I walk by the San Francisco store. It is packed.
It's pandemonium.
There are 500 nerds lined up across 2 lines. Reserve and buying. So I walk in, I cut the entire line, and I just walk up to the counter. Because I saw them walking everybody in. So now I've cut the entire line. I come there, and the woman goes, "Would you like to buy one, or would you like to do this?" I'm like, "This is hysterical. I've basically cut the entire line. There's no security yet."
Hours. People spend hours in that.
So I'm sitting there, and the guy's like, "Would you like to buy one?" I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "Okay, great. You know, you have a plan, or whatever." So I'm basically in the process of buying. I said, "Well, listen, I ordered one online." And he's like, "Well, we can't change your one online to this. You'd have to buy it for $700." And I was like, "I'm not going to spend $700 on it when I can get it for $299 or something, because I got the 60." So I have it on order. It'll be here on the 14th, which is sort of a bummer. That I have to wait till July 14th when the stores are stocked with them. They have
plenty of them right here in Santa Monica. It's just the line is obscene. All day. You're waiting 4 or 5 hours.
Which will be fine. They'll have more. What they're doing is Apple's doing a great job of creating scarcity.
Yeah.
They're putting these devices out in chunks. They're creating a little mystery about who got one and who didn't get one.
Same with iPad. It's the same
thing with iPad.
You still can't go and get an iPad at most of these stores.
Right. So it's just these are incredible devices. The thing I like best is what I have on my screen right here, which hopefully you guys will be able to pull up. But Mahalo is doing some how-to videos right now, and Mike Bracco here in this video is showing how to gift an application. And this is what I most want to do, is because I have applications and I'm like, "Mom, you got to get this application. Somebody else should get this application." So here he can buy an application and give it to somebody. So I could say, "Hey, I really want you to have Angry Birds," or "I really want you to have whatever," and they can get it. The device is amazing. I played with it last night at the Open Angel Forum. The keyboard is going to be a sleeper, because a hit, I think. The battery, the keyboard, the screen, the flash.
The display, I think, looking at the other ones.
The display is gorgeous.
Noah here, one of our developers at Mahalo, has Planet Earth on his phone. It's breathtaking. I mean, it looks like a high-res
there's something going on with the
HDTV.
screen with that megapixel thing they're doing. It's gorgeous. But the thing is, I don't know, and somebody's got to check this for me or ask the question on Mahalo Answers. Does the new screen make the keyboard more accurate? Because I started typing on it, and I felt like I was going a lot faster and a lot more accurately, and it felt better. Maybe it's the glass feel.
I don't know if it's maybe it's even the processing speed that it's more responsive.
It could be the processing speed, but more responsive.
It's a lot faster.
It feels faster when you type, which is what I've been waiting for.
It's much faster.
So if this works really well, maybe my BlackBerry is going to be the big loser in this. The LED flash for doing HD video at night is going to be incredible, and the battery and the A4 chip being in it, this is all going to come together really great. Okay, it looks like we have some special coming in here. Derek's here. Thank you, Derek. These are, this is from Green Job Spider. Thanks for having me on Twist. I enjoyed our chat. Thought you enjoy the shirts. Feel free to give them away on the next show. Green Job Spider.
Jobs?
Are you not entertained?
Oh, love it.
Beautiful.
Love
what
it.
a beautiful shirt. I love our super fans.
That's fantastic.
Are you not entertained, Maximus? I will take one of these. Wait, do I get one?
Yeah, there's 4.
There's 4.
Yeah.
So there's 2 here, and then there's 2 for me.
There's 2 out there. There's one for you, Tyler, one, and one for whoever you want to give it to.
You can take one. Derek's happy.
Nice.
I like Derek.
I see an XL there.
Okay, so we will give these 2 shirts away to somebody who thanks the sponsors. Are you not entertained? Thank you. Very nice, and thank you to our friends at Green Job Spider.
Yeah, how nice of them.
Beautiful. All right, so anyway, Steve Jobs is crushing it. I was really impressed with how Android got their phones out really quickly and caught up to the iPhone 3GS. Now I feel like Steve Jobs is now put a lot of space in between them. The chip and the screen are going to be very hard things for the other manufacturers to catch up to. Because the chip is designed by Apple and they own it, it becomes defensive and a strategic advantage. That's what we're seeing now. It's a strategic advantage to have this chip. And so I think Evo, Android, they're going to have to catch up. It's going to be a little bit hard, but man, Apple is firing on all cylinders, and I'm really excited about it. I tell you what I'm really excited about is video right now. You probably know because of what we're doing at Mahalo and what we're doing here at This Weekend. I think that video is having its moment right at this very moment because of Steve Jobs, because of Android. The mobile video movement is unbelievable. I am watching like 4 I'm becoming, I've always been a fan of documentary film, and I am watching 3 Holocaust documentaries at once.
It's fun. Just,
No, you know what happens? I was watching some Nazi movie about these climbers who were...
the Leni Riefenstahl.
No. There's another film.
Okay.
That's a German film that got an incredibly high rating that they recommended to me about these climbers who are in a competition with the Nazis to see who can climb this mountain first.
Okay. Yeah.
I forgot the name of it. Something Face or something. Anyway, and then it's like, oh, here's Forgiving Dr. Mengele. And I'm like, what's that? And it's a documentary about forgiving these twins who were in part of the twin studies. And one of the women whose sister was, both of them were tested on, the sister wound up dying from it, and she basically is forgiven the Nazis and has a whole philosophy of forgiveness and how that is the most empowering thing. But then she's with the other Mengele twins, and this sick bastard was doing experiments on twins with, and it turns out he had absolutely no rhyme or reason to it. And she goes to one of the doctors in Germany who's still alive, who was the only doctor in the Nuremberg trials to be let off because he had forgiven all of the, he had gotten children out of Auschwitz and had basically fought and did like an Underground Railroad type of thing. And so she went to see him to try to find out what happened to her sister.
Wow.
And he says, North Face is what they're talking about. And he says, I have to tell you, Mengele had no rhyme or reason. He didn't share what he was doing with any of the other doctors. He was just screwing around. He was just crazy. There was no science going on.
No, not really.
So, I mean, think about that. Like, you're like, oh my God, this guy's doing this scientific research. It's this sick, crazy person. And then it turns out that the scientific research wasn't even there.
No, he was even taking out people's organs.
Yeah, he was just being bizarre. Anyway, so that documentary, and it's all on my iPad. I had become a documentary freak. I am walking around the house. If I have to go use the John, or I'm waiting for my coffee to brew, I just Netflix. I'm watching 10 more minutes of a documentary, 5 minutes here, I'm grabbing it here, I'm on my iPhone watching stuff. It's madness.
It's the immediacy. That's a big part of it for me. It's like, I feel like watching something, two pushes of my finger.
Let's do we're at 1 hour, and we're at 1 minute and 40 seconds for the show. So,
oh, wow.
And I think that
that's an hour 40.
I know, it's an hour. The crew is getting a little, the crew knows when to tell me the time when I start talking about something that has absolutely nothing to do with startups. Last week was BP Oil, now it's documentaries on Netflix. Next story.
All right, so we'll talk about Playdom. They had a big week this week.
Yep.
They're currently the largest social gaming network on MySpace. They're trying to make inroads into Facebook, which is currently dominated by Zynga,
Mark
creators.
Pincus, my friend.
So their games include Mobsters, Poker Palace, Sorority Life, Treetopia, Tiki Resort, some of the bigger ones on the social networks. TechCrunch estimates the company currently has 28 million monthly gamers. On Monday, they closed a $33 million round of funding from investors including Disney's venture arm Steamboat Ventures. This completes their Series A round, which brings a whopping total of $76 million at a $260 million pre-money valuation. On Thursday, they announced their 5th acquisition so far this year, social gaming startup Hive7. Hive7 was founded in 2005. They also make social network games, Knighthood, Utopia, Syndicate. They've also 4 other companies that Playdom has eaten up, including MMORPG developer Acclaim Games. So is taking up these other developers and collaborating with them, is that their fastest route to taking out Zynga? And is that how you would spend this $76 million?
They're not going to catch Zynga. But there's a lot of market here. It's an international market. And obviously these companies are making money hand over fist. And when that happens, a lot of people who get left at the altar by the #1 candidate, these are investors. They wind up looking for the #2 because they're so sold on the space. They've done so much research into the space that these VCs or private equity guys, they get obsessed. And they chase. Just like somebody in poker might chase a straight that they didn't flop, but they're close. They chase, they chase, they chase. So now they're taking, well, this would have been a great investment in Zynga. Let's do it in the next one. Now, I'm not saying Playdom's not a good investment. It probably is.
Yeah.
But now, the people who are fighting over Playdom, there's going to be 3 or 4 people who don't get in that one, and they're going to be chasing the #3 or 4 candidates. And then what happens is the whole thing turns into a clusterfuck, and these bottom ones start fighting with each other and blowing through tons of cash and acting spastic. And then it just reinforces the #1 and the #2. So when you see these type of investments, typically what it's doing is confirming who's #1 and confirming who's going to be #2. Zynga, definitely going to be #1. Nobody's going to catch them. They have too many talented people at that company now. Just like Google, nobody's going to catch. It would take a paradigm shift to catch them. It's going to take a paradigm shift to catch Facebook. It will take a paradigm shift to displace Zynga. Take a paradigm shift to displace Apple iPad and Apple iPhone. So when you get so cemented that you're that good and you start seeing the #2 and the #3 getting these large amounts of money, it's really more a compliment to the #1. People can't bet on number one, so they're betting by proxy.
Yeah.
Just like if you can't buy Apple stock right now because it's too high, you try to figure out who makes the batteries, how can I get exposure to that company without having to buy the overpriced stock. And now I'm not giving stock advice and saying Apple's overpriced or underpriced, but they're just trying to get another way to invest in the category. And that can be very powerful. It's a good thing for entrepreneurs to know. If you're number two to somebody, you can raise a lot of money and you can have a big exit. The number two guy sometimes gets the big exit before the number one guy.
Yeah.
Because, like Bebo cashed out 850, boom, we're done. They were like the number 5 person, but there was some, AOL and Yahoo and all these guys couldn't buy MySpace. They couldn't get Facebook. The number one is not too expensive, not available.
Yeah.
So sometimes being number 2, number 3, you can get a very nice payday. And sometimes if you copy other people's ideas and race in, you could maybe get a couple $100 million. Or you could be part of the tail end of that, raise a bunch of money, and not be able to ever get any traction. Playdom is somewhere in between the two. Next story.
We'll talk about, speaking of trying to take out the number one, Google. Facebook confirmed this week that all Open Graph-enabled web pages will show up in searches on Facebook.com.
Yes.
So every time a Facebook user likes a page, this page is now sort of being crawled by Facebook and will show up in a Facebook search. So for example, allFacebook.com use this as an example. If you do a Facebook search, Annapolis Marriott, you get a TripAdvisor page that had been liked by several users. So the blog is now suggesting that this is going to give rise to a whole new type of SEO. They're calling it like baiting, in which sites attempt to optimize their maximum likes and thus get higher results in Facebook searches. So is this a direct, is this a declaration of war on Google from Facebook? And do you think that this is true, that people are now going to start thinking about optimizing their sites, not just for Google, but for Facebook?
They are already. Social media optimization. Facebook doesn't drive any major traffic to sites right now, but they do have single low-digit percentage of search, because people are on there, they're going to search anyway. Facebook has an ad network currently on their site. That network will be on other people's sites. So the reason they're doing Facebook Connect and personalization and likes on your other sites is so they can get you eventually to put their ad network on your site, and they can beat Google AdSense. They are also going to launch a search engine. The internet singularity is coming. All sites will be all things. This sounds crazy, but Google will have a social network and an office and a search engine. Apple will launch a social network. Apple will launch a search engine. They will have to, just like they launched an ad network. It may be a mobile ad network, but they launched an ad network. Google going into the ad space, that makes no sense. Apple going into the ad space, we never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
But now they have an ad network.
iAd?
If they have iAds, why wouldn't they have a search engine, and why wouldn't they have a social network? There will be I guarantee right now, Facebook will go into search, Apple will go into search, Google is already in social networking. Google may, in fact, make their own hardware at some point. I doubt it, but it's going that way.
Nexus One, they've already sort of put their name on a piece of hardware.
They put their name on it, but it's built by somebody else. Google TV. So I call this internet singularity. The internet singularity is coming. All companies will be all things. That's why this concept that I have and I've had previously about stealing and the sort of ungraciousness of it is moot. It's over. I was wrong, or I'm an outdated old guy. Everybody will have everything. Steal every idea from every other service. You now have my permission as chairman of the internet. There is no more worrying about, are you stealing from anybody? Because everybody is now stealing from everybody. It is the gloves are off. Facebook did it. They stole from everybody. They lied to their users. They're dishonest people, I believe. And they have basically created a new internet, which is every man for himself, and woman, in the case of Sheryl Sandberg. Everybody for themselves. We don't care about the users. We are going to do whatever we want with the users and their privacy. I don't care. Boom. And that's why Mahalo now has profile pages that look a little bit like the social network at Facebook. Not we're going to launch a social network, but we have to have social networking features, and we have to have our Q&A service integrated into that. Our topic pages like Wikipedia. Now Facebook's doing topic pages, and Facebook's doing Q&A just like Mahalo. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought that Facebook would be in our business? But they're doing a Q&A service, and they're doing topic pages? Really? Okay. That means we have to have their social networking. Does that mean we have to have games, and we have to integrate into Mahalo Playdom's games or Zynga's? Why not? I talked to Mark Pincus a year and a half ago about putting the poker game on Mahalo and letting people gamble Mahalo dollars. We just couldn't do it because Mahalo dollars were cash. You could cash them out. But maybe someday when you can't cash them out, you could. So anyway, the point is, it's every man for himself. And next story.
All right, the next
and last.
Next and last story, because we are running close to out of time. We'll talk about YouTube and Are they playing us off?
No.
Viacom's $1 billion copyright infringement lawsuit against YouTube was dismissed by a judge this week. Viacom initially filed suit against Google's video sharing site in March of 2007 for what it called, quote, a widespread and willful infringement of Viacom's content. So sad. YouTube defended itself by arguing that it complied with the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, the DMCA, removing any copyright infringement material upon request. Judge Lewis Stanton of U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York sided with Google, arguing that while the company knows that some copyrighted material appears on its site, it doesn't know and cannot know which clips have been uploaded with permission and which haven't. Therefore, the company is shielded by the safe harbor provisions of the DMCA. Google's general counsel called it a victory for the internet and the people who use it. Viacom has vowed to appeal the decision. So, do you agree with this decision, and what do you think of the long-term ramifications?
I wrote that YouTube famously was a business built off copyright violations.
And there are emails that came out in this case, by the way, from Chad Hurley to other people in the company that basically say they agree with that position, that they knew that that's what's going on.
So how could they not know? You can't not look at your log files and see that Lazy Sunday is the #1 video, and you have to be an idiot to know that that professionally produced video was not by SNL because you saw it and everybody's talking about it. So, however, law is the law. And the YouTube guys, I since have learned, that the YouTube guys gave those Viacom people and other copyright holders every possible tool to turn this stuff off, including turning it off themselves. If you participated with YouTube, you could go in and turn off those infringing things, or you could say, I own that, and start making money from it.
Yeah.
So they went above and beyond what they needed to do, YouTube. And if I had known that when I wrote my YouTube was built off of that, I would have written a different story. But YouTube had not revealed that yet.
Yeah, and actually they showed emails from Viacom employees, interestingly enough, that while they were filing suit, they were still uploading copyrighted material themselves.
So Viacom is a crybaby in this suit. And YouTube did everything they could, in my estimation, aside from taking stuff down themselves, which really isn't their job. If we get rid of this common carrier concept, then that means Apple and AT&T are going to be responsible if you take out your dong and put it on your video chat. Just chat roulette and Earthlink and cable modems are not responsible if people go on chat roulette and see penis. The person who put their penis is responsible for that on chat roulette. We don't want to make Cablevision or
right, you can't, yeah.
Fios responsible for a penis on chat roulette. The person who took the penis out is responsible for their penis. In this case, the person who uploaded penis or whatever, copyrighted penis or whatever it is, to YouTube is responsible.
Right.
That's who is responsible. And
as content creators,
YouTube's responsibility is to take down the stuff, which they did. And Viacom did a lot of debaggy kind of stuff, like, let's give them all of our requests in paper to F with them.
Right.
They did do that, right? I mean, that was part of the thing.
That was part of the thing.
So, like, there's no good faith here. And YouTube showed good faith. I was wrong because of partial information with my opinion of YouTube. I will say that clearly. You always know, everybody who watches this show, everybody who's on the Jason Nation email list, jasonnation.com, everybody who comes to my events, anybody who's involved with me in any way knows when I'm wrong, I will say it. That is my social contract with the audience. I will always be 100% honest with you and truthful. Always. And in that case, about YouTube, I was dealing with partial information. I did not know the backstory of YouTube giving them tools to turn off the stuff themselves and to identify it. That's more than anybody does. If I put up a free FTP service like Dropbox or something, and somebody decides to make their thing public, or I buy a server on Rackspace. I could buy a server today on Rackspace, make the FTP open, and anybody could use it in any way. Should I not be allowed to do that? Of course I should be allowed to do that. That's what I want to do. And if somebody puts something up there that they don't own, who is responsible? Rackspace? Well, if Rackspace is responsible, then guess what? Whoever's connection to Rackspace, oh, that was, I'm sorry, AT&T's connection to Rackspace, they're responsible.
You're
oh, you know who else is responsible?
Monitor everything.
Comcast is responsible because that's the dumbass's cable modem who uploaded it. And oh, who made the computer, the server it's on? Oh, Dell, it's a Dell server? Dell's responsible now. Oh, who's the hard drive? Oh, the hard drive was made by Seagate? Seagate's responsible. Oh, who made the platters in the Seagate thing? Oh, that was BCD Electronics in Taiwan that makes the platters and sells them to Seagate. They're responsible. Oh, and who's the mining company that mined the frickin' minerals that made the platter. They're responsible. Who was the boat that took it? The minerals to the, I mean, it's absurd. Common carrier. You cannot be responsible for other people's bad behaviors. Just like the person who makes a Smith & Wesson or the person who makes a Volvo car that is used in a bank robbery is not responsible. Nor is the gas company that put the gas in the car of the Volvo. They're not responsible. And for Viacom to do this, they're idiots. You know, like why they're doing this lawsuit, I think, out of some spite that they got left at the altar because they couldn't buy it.
Right.
And because of this residual anger towards Google and their success.
I don't understand, too, because Viacom, I mean, they're Comedy Central. You can go to southparkstudios.com and watch every episode of the show. I mean, they're putting it out there anyway.
So here's what I would do. If I had been Viacom, I would have said, listen, we think we have a case. We want $100 million in Google AdSense per year for 5 years. $100 million in, because we think you guys took $500 million in value from us. I want $500 million credit on YouTube or whatever, which means we get to have 10% of the inventory on the site for the next 5 years and have our videos up there. And we will participate and we'll share revenue with you. Win-win solution. Yeah. Where is that solution? That's what I would think. And this is the problem with these big companies. They get so vindictive about who's right and who's wrong. They don't think about the goddamn shareholders and what will create the most value. I would have the big stick, and I would say, oh, this is a stick for me to beat you with. I'm Viacom. I would say, okay, let me put this into the ground and make it a lever to try to get you to do something I need. That's what you're going to do as a business person. But I don't think that they were thinking like business people. I think they were thinking like little crybabies, and they deserve what they got. Appeal's going to fail too. Chad Hurley, they all get their money. All that money that was in escrow, Chad Hurley gets another couple $100 million. Good for him. He built a great service that has changed the world. He deserves it. I was wrong. This is an official apology to Chad Hurley about my comments about YouTube. I did not have complete information when I said YouTube was a business built on copyright infringement. I thought, well, I didn't know that you guys had built all these amazing tools for Viacom to police the site themselves. When I found that out, I thought, gee, you guys are doing more than you're required to do by law, and I've changed my position. You not only follow the rules, you gave them all these tools. If I had known those tools existed, I would have written that you guys were mensches. I apologize. It just comes from the, sometimes I make a mistake. I'm sorry, Chad. Congratulations on winning your lawsuit, and you know what? I didn't have complete information. You can make a mistake without complete information. I wish you guys had told me about those tools earlier. And the world, I think that you should have told the world that you built the tool that scans the thing looking for their copyright infringements and allowed them to turn off their stuff. That came out years later, those tools. And it's unfair sometimes. Sometimes I get my content turned off because unfairly somebody does a parody of something.
They're sometimes kind of heavy-handed with it.
They're heavy-handed on the side of the media companies, the rights holders.
We've had very fair use, obvious cases on This Week in YouTube that they'll pull the video out and then go through that whole arbitration 15-day process. Yeah.
So
Can we ask them to fix playlists as long as we're talking to Chad Hurley? Make playlists work better on YouTube.
Playlists need a little bit of work.
It's so hard to subscribe to a playlist.
Also with the playlist, it's like this little box in the corner, but it doesn't look like a playlist. Yeah. Whoever designed it didn't do a good job with the UI. A playlist it's closed by default. It should be open by default. It should have highlighting on the. It should be like highlighted in orange which one you're on. You click it, it moves. The yellow thing goes down. Doot. Now you're on this one.
We love YouTube. I love YouTube. I'm on it every day.
It's a UI thing.
But playlists need a little tweak.
Yeah, you can't find them. I'm watching the video, and now I'm watching the video, and nowhere does it say that this is part of a playlist.
You can go to youtube.com/thisweekend and see our channel, and everything looks beautiful. It's a great looking channel, and then we have to have this box with like all the playlists listed. You should just be able to click on the show, immediately go to the playlist, click subscribe,
or a drop down that says playlists, and
just make it really easy for people because you want people to subscribe.
But you know what the thing is? I think that they're not used to the level of sophistication of an entire network working on YouTube. Let's finish the show. Thank you, everybody, for being involved, Lon. You did a great job on the show. Thank you to @DNAmail, @WebSpy, @PowerVPS, and @Ustream. Tune in to Kevin Pollak's show on Sunday for a special guest, Paul Rudd. You know him from I Love You, Man, and Role Models, and the upcoming Dinner for Schmucks with Steve Carell. And I cannot wait to see that episode of Kevin Pollak's Chat Show at 3 p.m. Pacific, which is 6 p.m. Eastern, which would be plus 6 hours midnight in Europe.
But it'll air. If you can miss it that day, it's on iTunes. Absolutely. The next day you can watch it anywhere.
And this Thursday, big news. This is a special announcement. Oh, we have a special announcement.
Oh, there we go.
I'm so proud of the This Week in team. This Thursday is the Geek Out lineup, starting at 5 p.m. This Week in iPad, starting at 6:30, again with the half hour, 6:05.
Half hour, we're working
Starting at 6:05, This Week in Video Games, sorry, Derek. And then at 8 p.m., another half hour break between those, This Week in Music. So you go iPad, video games, music. And let me tell you something. The video games is hosted by Andrew Renee.
Michael Ludden and Andrea Renee.
Well, it's a guy and Andrea
Renee. Yeah.
For the gentlemen at home who are into video games, they know Andrea Renee. She's a dynamo. She's easy on the eyes. And she's awesome.
Knows her
games.
stuff. I mean,
can we please have her play Guitar Hero in the first episode? Because it's ridiculous. I mean, she plays Guitar Hero.
She's won Guitar Hero championships.
Yeah, she's ridiculous.
She's crazy.
But also knowledgeable. I'm so happy Andrea Renee is back in the family and doing This Week in Video Games. This Week in iPad. You're going to be doing with Jacob. You really need to get a good host on that.
We're the search is on. If you,
I'm not saying you're a bad host, but I mean when I say a good host, I mean somebody who has domain expertise with the iPad.
Somebody
who's
who
an iPad developer.
I have a million things I'm working on. I can't focus all week on my iPad.
Consider that a call out. We need somebody to host here in Santa Monica. And then This Week in Music, again, we're moving away from technology, trying to go into consumer stuff with the network. Leo Laporte's got technology locked down, 5 hours, 10 hours of programming a day. We're trying to go in the other direction, which is video games, music,
lifestyle,
comedy, and entertainment.
Yeah.
So This Week in Music, hosted by
Asha K.
Asha K, who, if you go to This Week in Casting at the This Week in site,
you'll see when
she came in and we're like, wow, this is it's incredible. She's got this, she's beautiful Indian woman.
From Australia.
From Australia. And so you're like, wait, where are you from? And she's Indian, but she's got an Australian accent, and she is so passionate about music. She knows every indie band. But this show is not just about indie music. She can talk about all music. This will be the show, the really interesting music show that you've always wanted, This Week in Music.
It's going to be great.
Thursday night's Geek Out lineup. That puts you at 15 shows?
We got 2 more coming. That's 13.
What are the 2 more?
2 more are going to be This Week in Cause, which we're prepping a pilot for right now.
Okay, so like
which would be nonprofits, social action, and then This Week in Cars, which we're workshopping right now. We're getting to work on a pilot, and that's going to be hosted by Kristen Burt, who does the web files.
Great, so awesome to see that the This Week in Network is growing. I see that drop down, and I get very happy.
Yeah, and they're saying This Week in Beer. I would love to do This Week in Beer. It's on my list.
I am going to insist that we stop at 15
for a
shows.
While. We have so many more ideas.
Shows sponsored.
Yes.
So that we can maintain the quality level. I'd like to see the hosts get paid. I know that we're giving the hosts a hundy or something, a token hundy.
It depends on the number of sponsors.
Yes, but it's a hundy.
For one sponsor.
200,
2 sponsors, 300, 3 sponsors.
And if there's 2 hosts of the show, they each get that.
They each get that, that's right.
So this is a pretty good deal. If the show gets to $3,000 in sponsorship revenue, the 2 hosts wind up getting $300 each for coming in for an hour or 2 hours a week.
Yeah, there's a little bit of prep work during the week to get ready.
But anyway, it's basically the winners on the network are paying for the ones that don't yet have advertising, and the hosts are going to actually make real money.
Yeah, some of them are already doing all right.
And hey, maybe even stock options for the hosts.
We're
just like Weblogs.
Talking about that right now.
It's like a better Weblogs Inc. That's what I'm trying to have you guys build here. It's a better Weblogs Inc. Just even all the lessons we've learned. And this weekend is going to crush it. I predict this will be 30 shows within 2 years.
I'd love their suggestion there. Get the Dogfish Head guys to do This Week in Beer. That would be amazing. I would watch that show, even if it wasn't on my network.
This Week in Beer would be great. All right. Thank you, DNA Mail, Web Spy, Power VPS. We'll see everybody at the launch conference. What are the dates again? Is it February 23rd and 24th, as they say? What did I say earlier?
They had it in the chat room.
I think tell me one more time. 23rd and 24th. I think it said 23rd and 24th. Roberta, what do we say for the conference? Nobody remembers. Okay.
Nobody remembers. We'll get it up there.
We'll see you next time.
Spiked out, I could trip a referee. Tell by my attitude that I most definitely from.